Hello and welcome, I am Garin River and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. This is the second battle of round 7 and is a 3,000 point match where the Skullsmasherz Orcs and Goblins tribe are besieging the Empire city of Nuln. This is the second siege battle I have done in this campaign, and I will not be going through all the rules at the beginning. If you want the rules for how the siege battle works overall, this is using the Blood in the Badlands siege rules. You can go check out the Siege of Drakenhof video, which will be linked in the description. I suspect this is going to be a very long battle, so let's just crack on and have a look at the armies. First, the defenders, Wissenland. It is their maybe capital city. Again, conflicting reports on what's actually the capital of Wissenland, but this is the seat of power for the Elector Countess of Wissenland. Therefore, the army is being led by her consort Frederick Lehrer, the Grand Master, although he's not actually a Grand Master. I just use the model to represent him because it is interesting. He is supported by 2 wizards. Both returning, we have the Furman, who has been upgraded to a Battle Wizard Lord. He is a Law of Beasts wizard. And Valo Herber, who is a Law of Heavens. Then there is Gaston Spitzer, the Captain with the Battle Standard Bearer, who is the Battle Standard Bearer. And finally, the returning Priest Culper, the Warrior Priest. Here is the army. This is taking a lot of advantage of Nuln being the Imperial Gunnery School. We have 2 big blocks of handgunners, a massive unit of knights which I will come back to, and then swordsmen and 2 units of greatswords for holding the walls, and then a ton of artillery. We have a mortar, a cannon, and 2 Hellstorm rocket batteries. These can be placed on towers, so they are going to be firing right away. Then finally, the steam tank called Old Red. And then the Skullsmasherz. This is of course being led again by its leader Cromgit Blackhand, who is fairly securely now the leader of the Skullsmasherz tribe. He's accompanied again by his loyal banner bearer Waaagh, and then 3 spellcasters, the Orc Great Shaman, Big Oli Ed, another Orc Shaman called Zippy Zippy, and then finally a Goblin Shaman called Scrap Thumb, and this should give me a decent magic phase. The rest of the force, we have 3 massive blocks of Orcs, and 3 smaller blocks of goblins, the idea being that the orcs are going to hit very hard in particular places, and the goblins are going to be distractions. Then we have 3 bolt throwers, 2 rock lobbers, and 2 giants. And I'm hoping that most of that is going to really help with breaching the walls. As this is a siege battle, each force also gets a number of siege points equal to the points of the army. And just to clarify, the Skullsmasherz have 3,130 because they spent a load of gold on this, whereas Wissenland has 3,100 because they also spent gold on it. And they get a number of siege points equal to the points value of the army to then spend on things from the Battle in the Badlands book. The Skullsmasherz chose a siege tower for 1,000, which is visible here, and basically operates as a movable building that they can then sort of latch on and move through. 2 monstrous battering clubs given to the giants, which allow them to potentially breach a wall on their own. 2 siege ammunition given to the rock lobbers, which similarly allows them to potentially breach. And then all the rest of the points went on 5 undermines to try and breach the walls at the beginning of the game. Wissenland spent 250 on a warded tower, that is the light blue one here, which gives any unit inside magic resistance 2, which is a +2 to their ward save against magic. A wizard's tower, which is the purple one, which means any wizard in there knows all of the spells of their lore. 2 flaming ammunition for the 2 handgunners, although how a handgunner can make their ammunition flaming is beyond me. I'm just going to trust that there is some Nuln magic being worked. 3 boiling oil, which I'm changing slightly from how they worked in the previous one. They've gone to the swordsman and the 2 greatswords. Actually, I should give them templates. So here they have the 3 boiling oils, and whereas last time they had to be done in the shooting phase, now I'm going to say they can be done in the shooting phase, but they can also be done instead of throwing rocks as a standard shoot reaction when charged. And then all the remaining points went on 5 Sally Forth, which, similar to the undermining, gives additional rolls at the beginning of the game. So as you can see, the board is already set up, and this is the Nuln side, and this is the not Nuln side. And I set it up like this because I found this really cool map of Nuln that someone did, and it is on the Incarnate subreddit, linked in the description is this post, and it's this picture of Nuln, and it's like, yeah, this is a really cool look at Nuln, because I believe it does canonically like straddle the rivers. So this is attacking the south gate of Nuln, and this means that Wissenland is defending on the walls or behind them, except the relief force, whereas the Skullsmasherz can deploy anywhere on this side of this red line, which is 8 inches away from the tower. And I didn't put any other real terrain out here. I did like try some tents and stuff around here, but it's like all it's going to do realistically is block anything from going here. So yeah, like although I would like there to be tents and make it look a bit more interesting, it just feels a bit too restrictive with how limited movement is in this game, you know? So I opted for nothing. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. So first of all, we place the 3 objectives. The attacker places the first one, then the defender, and then the attacker again. So the Skullsmasherz are going to put one on the gate because they really want to control the gate. It's pretty vital to stop the relief force. Wissenland will put the second one on the warded tower, and that is because they plan to put something good on there to defend it. And then finally, the Skullsmasherz, they're going to put the third one here. So I'm trying something a bit different in this one, which I will expand on shortly, but basically I'm not going to try and do the full, you know, attack everywhere at once thing, because clearly that didn't really work. I mean, this is going to be a very different siege because these guys are going to be much more affected by starvation compared to the vampire counts defending last time, who could just out-heal it in turn 1. So yeah, we're going to see how this siege goes. Next, I have to choose who is in the relief force and who is not, because I need to roll the starvation. And the relief force is going to be Roderick and his knights and Old Red. And the rest of this is going to be inside the castle. And the reason I've gone for this is both because it needs to be, to remind you, for the way relief force works, is the defenders need to control the gate, and then the knights, or a unit of 5 models or more, needs to pass through the gate. So, and then they win instantly. So we need a decent unit that is going to be able to punch through and have enough models left to reach it in however many turns they get. But also the steam engine is not going to be able to, steam tank is not going to be able to do much from behind the wall. And but if it comes on from like here, it may be able to crash into the back of something and do a whole load of damage. So that's why this is the relief force. However, it does mean that all of these are now going to have to roll starvation. So because it's not a hasty assault, which the other one was, they fail it on a 5+, so I roll a d6 for every single model. Obviously it's for, is it each for the crew? Doesn't say, you know, it just says per model, so technically this would be 4 rolls, even though there are only 3 of them, even though the mortar can't starve. But yeah, so I'm just going to do it 1 for each of the crew, because that makes sense. And we'll see how many die before the battle even begins. So I'm just going to have to move these out of the way a bit. I'm just going to move along the line. So first of all, the Furman takes a wound. He's a lord, so he has 3 wounds down to 2. I'll do Valo, and then the champion, and then 19 handgunners. Valo, fine. Champion, fine. 19 handgunners. 6 die. And see, this is why I went for such large handgunner units, because I believe the walls count as 2 stories, so only 10 can fire at once. But I figure I want to be able to survive the initial casualties and any future casualties with the unit still shooting at max power. So now we have another champion and 19 more handgunners. So we'll do the 19, as I've already got that queued up. 9 die. Champion, fine. Gaston, the champion, Culper, and then 29 swordsmen. Gaston, wounded. Culper, wounded. Swordsman champion, fine. 29 swordsmen, 4. 8 total dead. Greatsword champion and 24 greatswords. Champion, fine. 24 greatswords. 2. 5 dead. Champion and 23 greatswords. Champion, dead. 23 greatswords. 3. 6. 3 for the mortar. 1. 3 for the cannon. 1. 3 for each of the Hellstorm. None. And 1. So there we go. That is quite a lot of casualties before the game has even begun, before they've even deployed. Oh, so yeah, that's the handgunners were hit easily the worst. That was shocking. But yeah, now the defenders deploy, so they can deploy in whatever order because it's just them and then the other side. Because towers can be deployed in by a war machine and a normal unit, we will just start off with the cannon in this tower, as well as Valo's unit. So I'm going to have Valo and a handgunner. So this is the this tower here. So because the 3 objectives are here, they're likely going to be concentrating the majority of their attack on this bit. So we will have basically the 3 sword units across these 3. Seems sensible. So let's have Gaston's unit in the middle. So I'll put Gaston on there and a swordsman. So this is the wall to the left of the gate. The bigger greatsword unit I'm going to put in the warded tower. So I'll put that in there, and then this goes in the tower. And then the other greatswords are going to go in the gate. So they are on the... Come on. They are on the gate. I will also put a Hellstorm battery in the warded tower. Right, when I built the army, I thought that gateways could also have a siege weapon in, but it seems it is... Oh no, hang on. Yeah, gate and tower sections. Okay, yeah, so they can. Good. So that means the other Hellstorm is going in the gateway, and that leaves the... Where are these 2 from? Oh, they're from the cannon. So the cannon is in the right tower. The mortar, I'm actually going to deploy... Come on, move. I'm going to deploy here at the back. So the mortar can blind fire, so that's why the mortar's there. And although these always count as blind firing, they also have a shorter range than the mortar, so I think it's better to do it like this. I'm not sure whether to put the handgunners in this one or in this one. I should probably put them over here to spread out the fire as much as possible. That makes sense. So handgunners in the far left wall. And that leaves 2 walls completely unoccupied. So, where am I going to put the Furman? I probably should have put him in one of the units, actually. Just so he's not on his own defending a wall. Alright, I'm going to put him in the one with the greatswords in the tower. So... There's now space on this base for me to just shift one. So yeah, the Furman is in this unit here, so I shall put him on the tower with the Hellstorm and the Greatswords. After all of that, admittedly it's only like 1 model each, but it suddenly seems like very meagre defences, doesn't it? 3,000 points! Because now it's time to deploy the attackers. Anywhere beyond this red line, the siege tower can just sort of roll in and connect. So I'll put the siege tower here. Pretty much close as possible to there, so it can just roll straight up to the warded tower. And I think I'm going to put... Ooh, who's in this one? Furman and Greatswords, yeah. Okay, I'm going to put Cromgit's unit in the siege tower. Can I get it on top? I can. So Cromgit and his biguns are in this siege tower, because it counts as essentially a building section that can move. And this is a bloody massive unit, and it's going to do some real damage. So I'm just gonna put that sideways on because there isn't space for it anywhere else. The Black Orcs are going here ready to charge the gate, pretty much. This big unit of boys is going to take on Gaston's unit, or Gaston's wall section. I'm going to have some goblins all the way over here to immediately capture that section as it is unoccupied. Another to immediately capture that section as it is unoccupied. These guys over here to try their luck against these handgunners. Are these the depleted ones? They are. Yeah, good. So that's going there to attack that one. Skimbleshanks is going up alongside these guys to... Oh no, don't turn. It's going to attack that wall. McCavity. I think he is going to go... Ooh. Where do I want McCavity? I mean, I'm not actually attacking this tower at all because the idea is I'm going to get in with them. But alright, fine. Let's throw him a cavity at this tower and see what happens. I mean, he's charging a cannon, so that may go poorly for him, but at the same time, I'd rather it go poorly for him than something that matters more. Bolt throwers, let's just dot these around, because they're just going to be shooting up at the walls and doing as much damage as they can. Same with the rock lobbers. They've got bloody massive range, so I don't really need to be too careful about where I put these, and the more they're spread out, the more chance they have of not being destroyed by the relief force. Oh, I forgot to do spells, so let's do those quickly. It's not going to affect anything of where I deploy them, but still. So, as always, remember that these, both the board and these spell cards are from mods that I have uploaded. They're both linked in the description. These spell cards have, like, all of the information you need to use them. So, the Furman is a 3rd level Lore of Beast wizard. So, the first one is Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. Yeah, that seems a pretty good one, especially as we're going to have Cromgit. They wouldn't know this at the time, but they're going to have Cromgit to fight soon. Second spell is Transformation of Kadon. That's the one I was hoping for, because that's what I picture to be the Furman's signature spell. Yep, so that's fantastic. And then the third one is Curse of Anra-Air. No. Alright, I'm going to swap that for Wysan's Wild Form. And then Valo is a 2nd level wizard, but he is actually in the wizard's tower, so he knows all of the spells, but I'll put them on a separate layer, like a separate level. So his first one is Harmonic Convergence. I don't love that one. What's the alternative? Shooting attacks. Target unit has mine. Nah. That isn't massively helpful here, because there isn't really any shooting apart from siege weapons, and it seems silly to waste a spell on a single siege weapon. So I guess I'm going to go with Harmonic Convergence. Not one I would have picked, but I do not have much choice. And his second spell is Uranan's Thunderbolt. I'm happy with that one. I mean, I would have preferred Chain Lightning to get the mass damage, but considering the Macavity and stuff are right there, this is much better against stuff like giants. But, of course, I get all of the other ones anyway while he is in the tower, so I shall put them below like this, including the Comet of Cassandora, which I think will be really, really fun on this map. And then over on this side, I position them slightly wrong, so Big Olied is sort of backed up against a mountain. But Big Olied is a 4th level wizard, Zippy Zippy is a 2nd, as is Scrap Thumb. So, first of all, I will do Big Olied. So he gets 4 of these. His first one is Fists of Gork. Caster gets +3 attacks and strength and a 6+ ward. That's not really helpful. I don't really want him to be going that far in, so I will swap that for Gaze of Mork. His second one is Edbutt. That's pretty decent. Yeah, I'll take Edbutt. His third one is Foot of Gork. That one's pretty good. And then his fourth one is also Foot of Gork, so I get to pick. I think I'll go with Here We Go. That seems a pretty good one for this. And Zippy Zippy is a 2nd level, so his first one is Brainburster. Single enemy model. I mean, that could be used to take out like Gaston, and then later on it'll be good against the Knights, I suppose. I mean, it allows armor saves, apparently. So no, I think I'll actually swap that for Gaze of Mork as well. And then his second spell is Brainburster. I guess I'm stuck with it. And Scrap Thumb is a 2nd level as well, so his first is Itchy Nuisance. That is pretty not... I mean, actually, that may help. Because the thing that I forgot to do a lot in the previous siege, which I will be doing in this one, is when assaulting a wall from outside the wall, so it won't count, for example, it won't count from the siege tower, but it will count here, is it halves the initiative of the attackers. And the weapon skill as well, I think. I'll double check it, but anyway. The point is that reducing initiative with Itchy Nuisance could be really helpful. So yeah, I'll take Itchy Nuisance. And his second one is Gork'll Fix It. That's not... To be honest, I don't like you may have noticed this with like the Harmonic Convergence. I don't like the ones that are like, oh, you re-roll this one particular thing. And the larger the battles get and stuff, the more useful they become, but overall I'm not a big fan. So I think I will actually swap it for Sneaky Stabbing, because armor piercing is pretty good against stuff like knights. So now the deployment is done, we go into the pre-battle phase. These siege battles still take ages even when I'm not explaining all the rules. And this is a 4-step process: defensive artillery, attacking artillery, defensive missile, and then begin. So I guess it's only 3 phases really. So defensive artillery, roll 2d6 for each defending stone thrower or cannon. I do have to check what the Hellstorm battery counts as. Okay, it doesn't say? Oh, it says following the rules for a stone thrower, so I'm going to count that as a stone thrower. So we have the mortar also counts as a stone thrower, so we've got 4, basically. And then we have 5 Sally Forth, which gives an additional 10 rolls. So Sally Forth, I decided before, because normally you have to pick. So, like, I'm rolling for the Great Cannon, for example, and then rolling for the next one or whatever, whereas Sally Forth is indiscriminate. So I shall go through, and it's 2d6. Each roll of a 6 destroys a war machine within range and sight. So actually the mortar can't, because the mortar can't actually see. So scratch that one, only 3. Starting with the cannon, so I can roll and then I get to decide. Cannon, nothing. Hellstorm on the gate, 1. So the Hellstorm on the gate, what is the Hellstorm's range? 48. So I think that will take out this rock lobber. Each roll of a 6 destroys 1 attacking war machine in range and sight. So yeah, this rock lobber is just gone. And then this Hellstorm, that's another 6. So that's taken out the other rock lobber, because that is within range and sight of this one. Ooh, actually, I mean, we're back to that whole the book is poorly written thing from last time. It doesn't say here whether I can count the siege tower in that, but in the Sally Forth, it does say, because it says one of the attacker's war machines including siege towers or battering rams. It doesn't say that in the the defensive artillery fire, but it does say that in Sally Forth. So I'm going to assume that I can't. Anyway, yeah, so that's both rock lobbers gone, and now I get 10 rolls to basically try and take out the rest. So any 6s are additional things taken out. 1. So that is going to be the siege tower, because it specifically says I can take out the siege tower. Well, that's a shame, because that would have been a really fun thing to use, but oh well. Suddenly, this just spills out. So Cromgit's unit is now right here, where the siege tower was just seconds ago. Next it is attacking artillery, and unfortunately all the rock lobbers are gone, leaving just bolt throwers. And the way the bolt throwers work is they can't cause any breaches, but what they can do is they can still destroy artillery. So I roll d6. Sorry, I roll. I've just realised I misread the bloody rules. Oh god, I'm an idiot. No wonder it seemed so phenomenally powerful, the attacking artillery last time, because I got like breaches everywhere, and it's because I got the bloody rules wrong because it's poorly written. Sorry, I'm back to that. It says, roll 2 dice for each attacking stone thrower, cannon or bolt thrower. Reroll all rolls of 6. If the reroll is 1 to 3, the attack destroys a defending war machine, and 4 to 6 it causes a breach. I did not see the re. I read, if the roll is 1 to 6, it destroys blah blah blah, 4 to 6 it destroys blah blah blah, reroll 6s. What it means is you roll it just like the attacking artillery, because of course I didn't have that last time, so I didn't have the example of how that worked. So yeah, turns out breaching is a lot rarer than I thought it was. So we have 3 that are rolling, so I'll roll them 2 at a time because they have different sort of ranges and lines of sight. First one moving down the board, nothing. Second one, nothing. Third one, nothing. Okay, so the bolt throwers are not very good. But now we get undermines, which is similar to the Sally Forth, an additional 10 rolls, because I purchased it 5 times. However, they cannot destroy war machines under mine, so they can only cause breaches. So any 6s have a half chance to cause a breach. So that's 1. You see, this is what happened last time that, yeah, I don't remember getting this right. So now, on a 4 to 6 it causes a breach, 1 to 3 is ignored. It's ignored! So, we have no breaches whatsoever. The siege ammunition on the rock lobbers is also gone, and the siege tower is also gone. So the only thing they actually have left of any of their siege equipment is the monstrous battering clubs on McCavity and Skimbleshanks. I wish I'd known that before I deployed them all the way bloody over here, but whatever. Oh, I also forgot to deploy these 3. Sorry, I didn't even see Scrap Thumb. Big Olied is going to go here, Zippy Zippy is going to go here, Scrap Thumb is going to go here. Next we go into defensive missile fire, defending troops that didn't shoot in phase 1, presumably meaning anything that isn't one of the artillery that could do the defensive artillery. They can now fire twice. So artillery that shoots in this phase, like the mortar, and causes a misfire, isn't used in the first turn, but doesn't roll on the misfire chart. So we have the handgunners here, and the mortar. 10 models can shoot from each, so 10 handgunners are going to shoot at... do I shoot at McCavity or do I shoot at the goblins? I think I'm going to shoot at McCavity. The attackers go first. So yeah, I'm going to shoot at McCavity, I think. So I actually get to shoot twice, so I'm going to shoot the first round at McCavity and see how he's doing. So 10 shots from these handgunners, and their champion is alive, within short range. Ordinary guys, 6. Champion, hit, so a total of 7 hits. Only 1 wound, but he doesn't have any armor, so McCavity takes a wound. Second round of shooting, I think I'm going to go for McCavity again, because frankly, given that they are pretty much the only thing that can still breach walls, they are now officially the biggest threats. Champion, miss. Everybody else, 5. Another 2 wounds, so McCavity is half dead already. The mortar is going to aim at this unit or this unit. Ooh, which one's the biggest threat? Probably this one, the one with Cromgit. So, gonna aim it right there. No, right there, so it has a chance to hit Cromgit himself. And it scatters 4 inches. It would normally be a direct hit, but because it is indirect firing, you use the little arrow on it, reduced by the ballistic skill of the artillery. So the 4 is actually reduced to a 1. So that is a pretty damn accurate shot. So it goes 1 inch this way to there. So that still might hit Cromgit, doesn't quite hit Scrap Thumb, but it's going to be hitting... Oh yeah, I'll roll Lookout, sir. So we've got the Champion and Cromgit. Champion is fine, Cromgit is fine. So I count that as 26 big uns being hit by the mortar. 1 is hit at higher strength, so 25 at strength 2 and 1 at strength 6. Strength 6 hit, that's a wound. And at that strength, especially with armor piercing, there is no save. Nope, that's the ordinary boys. Big uns. And then 25 at strength 2. So this actually has a very low chance to wound, because big uns, well, orcs in general are pretty tough. 3. Only 4 wounds. They do get an armor save from the lower strength, so that is 1 save, 3 more dead. That could have been so much worse for Cromgit's unit. Like, already the siege isn't going as well as he'd hoped, considering most of his big guns have already been destroyed, and his, safety thing. But still. Now we have the... Oh, the mortar can fire again. Of course it can. It can fire twice. I'm just going to go for the same place again. And I'm fairly sure, considering we're not actually in a phase, that this cannot cause a panic. Same way Starvation can't. So that way, 6 inches. That may take it off. So that's 6 inches this way. It does actually miss Cromgit's unit. Oh, does it? No, it doesn't. It does actually hit 2 of them. But only on the lower strength, so no wounds. And then these handgunners... Ooh, I think they might go for the big uns as well. Because handgunners are pretty good against big uns, strength and armor piercing wise. So yeah, let's. They're within short range from this point on the wall. So 10 handgunners. Do they still have 10? Yes, they do. So do they have their champion? Yes, they do. So champion and 9 handgunners shooting at the big uns. Champion hit. 9 ordinarians. 5, so 6 total. 3 wound. And at that, strength and armor piercing, no armor. Second round of shooting, I think they're actually going to go for the Night Goblins. They don't want to let the side down by losing to Night Goblins here. So, yeah, especially as they are a depleted unit, they're probably going to fall victim to the Night Goblins. So, let's have all the shooting at the Night Goblins. Champion first. Miss. Everybody else. 5. 3 wound. And at that, strength, no armor. So that's not anywhere near as impressive as the casualties they've taken, but taking out the siege tower I think makes everything worth it. And that is all for the pre-battle. And we go into the attackers going first with the Skullsmasherz Turn 1. So first of all, we roll Animosity for everybody affected by Animosity. Do Night Goblins have it? Yes, they do. So we've got Night Goblin, the Black Orcs don't, the Ordinary Boys, the Big Uns, and the Night Goblins. So we'll go down the line, starting at the very top. Night Goblins, fine. Second Night Goblins, fine. Ordinary Boys, fine. Big Uns, fine. Night Goblins, fine. Yep, that makes sense considering they're all about to get stuck into a massive siege. So let's do some charges. Right, where do I start? God, it's like an orc in a murder shop. What? No. Yeah, so we're going to start off here. We may as well just start off with this. So they are 9.6 away because they start 8 away, but it's 8 away from the nearest point. So this is like a 1.6. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so they are 9.6 away, rounded up to the 10. So they need to roll a 6 to charge it, which they fail at. Well, they are allowed to do a standard shoot despite the charge failing. So they are going to move 2 inches forwards. But yeah, they do get shot by the handgunners. Champion first. Miss. Everybody else. 7. Sorry. My mistake. That's only 3. I forgot to change what I was aiming for. So that's only 3 hits off the rest of the unit. So I'm just going to reroll them entirely. Still 3 wounds though. No armor. I broke them. Damn. I'm going to have to put a marker here so I remember where they bloody were. So I think they're about there. Sorry about that. So that's them. That's them done. I'm just going to move up the line for simplicity. So the big uns are going to charge at this. So they are 8 inches away. They need to roll a 4. Good. I'd be very disappointed if Cromgit's unit failed the charge. I did consider calling a Waaagh here, because I rarely get to use that ability, but I don't think it would really help much, because combat resolution doesn't really matter here. Matters, it matters more, I think, when they're breach sections, but anyway. So these boys are going to charge this wall, and they're 9.6 away, so again, rounded up to 10, so they need a 6. They just succeed. No shooting to be done in response, so they charge. The Black Orcs are going to charge the gates. Come on. The Black Orcs are going to charge the gates, and they are 9 inches away, because that's a little bit shorter than the towers are. So they need a 5. I mean, these are all very easy charges. It's astonishing that one of them failed. So they succeed that charge, and again, no shooting. Technically, they don't charge an empty wall section, so they're not charging, but McCavity is going to charge. So McCavity, I think, has a movement of 6. Yep, movement of 6. So, oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean to move him. So McCavity only needs a 3. Anything other than a double 1, and he's made the charge. Oof, bloody testing me, isn't he, McCavity? He charges. And that is all for charges. That's pretty damn good. It's literally just this one that failed. The rest of it, let's have Scrap Thumb move up 4 inches to stay within safety range. Zippy likewise. Oh, I didn't mean to take off a wound. Likewise move up to there. And Big Oly Ed move up to there. We will have the Night Goblins here. They can't actually make it into the wall. So they're going to move 4 forwards. And they are, I believe, within 8 inches. Yes, so they're going to have to do a leadership test. Oh, God. Leadership of 5 to see if they can march. They cannot. So they fail that. They cannot march. These Night Goblins are also going to move 4 forwards. And likewise are within 8. Come on. Likewise are within... Come on. Likewise are within 8. So they have to take another leadership test. Also on 5. Which they also fail. They can't march either. Skullsmasherz is going to move up 6 to there. And he is also going to try and march. What is his leadership? 10. So he is much higher chance of actually getting this. Ooh, still barely passed. So Skullsmasherz is going to move into this wall section as it is unoccupied. So he's just going to clamber up the wall, presumably. Actually, is that what I want to do? Yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, he's just clambering up onto the wall. If a unit equipped with monstrous clubs is within 1 inch of the fortress, it can attempt to batter the walls. Roll at the start of each combat phase to see if a breach is made. It does this instead of its normal attacks. So, the monster will breach on a 5+. +1 if it is a gate section, so it doesn't actually need to be outside of the section. He can just batter it from on the wall, or... as he is technically anywhere in this section, he can technically batter this from in this section, according to rules as written. Magic. 7. Channeling Wissenland. Nope. Channeling Skulls. Nope. I think we'll start off with an Edbutt against the Furman. Cast on a 9. I've got 7. I think I'm going to use 3 on this. Plus his, I believe, 4 levels? Yeah, 4 levels, total of 15. Due to Power of Waaagh, the strength value is increased by 1 as there are more friendly units in combat than fleeing. So this is going to do a strength 5 hit with multiple wounds and no armor saves against the Furman. So there's a very high chance, given he's only got 2 wounds left, that he could just die for being headbutted by Big Oly Ed. God, am I going to use all 5 dice? Like, there's no point using just 4 dice on this, you see, because 1 dice I can't dispel anything. So yeah, I'm going to use all 5 dice to try and save the Furman. He needs beat 11. Yep, 18 total. Wow, he really wouldn't have done that with any fewer dice, would he? Yeah, so that is dispelled. But that does leave it wide open for an here we go. 11 plus. I'm just going to use... 3 dice? No, screw it. 4 dice. 11 plus. It's irresistible. That's why you use 3 dice when you can. All orc units within 2d6, including the caster, reroll to hit in combat. So this is Big Oly Ed. So if he rolls an 11, then it's going to be all 3 of these. But yeah, so this is 2d6. 6 inches. So that is enough for the Black Orcs and the Orc Boys. They both now reroll to hit until... the next magic phase. And the miscast, 9. Magical feedback. The wizard and every model on the same side that can generate power or dispel dice suffers a strength 6 hit. Big Oly Ed, fine. Scrap Thumb, wounded. Zippy. Also fine. Literally just Scrap Thumb. So I think they would just consider that just 100% a success. Shooting, we only have the bolt throwers. And frankly, there is really not that many things they can shoot at. Pretty much just this wall, because all the others are in combat. So yeah, the bolt thrower is going to go for this wall. It is just within half range. By this wall, I mean the handgun is in this wall, so it counts as hard cover? Yeah, hard cover. It's a miss. Is this one within range? They actually have a much longer range than I thought they did. Yes, it is, because it can shoot over the top of these quite easily. So that does need a 7 to hit. So, first of all, miss. And this one, is this... No, this one's not quite in range. Yeah. Hang on, let me just turn it. Because they can pivot. No, in order to get past the edge of the tower, it's increases the distance by another inch. So no range there. Combat. Ooh, where do we begin? So many places to try and destroy. So the 2 bonuses defenders get, which I did wrong last time, is, first of all, if you're attacking a fortress section from outside, then the attackers have half the weapon skill and initiative, rounding down. Next is connected sections. The defending unit gets +1 to their combat resolution for every connected section occupied by a friendly unit. So even though that's a bit of an ambiguous term, because technically this section of the wall is connected to this section of the wall, what it means is adjacent connected sections. Doesn't say that, but that's what it means. So this one starts off with 2, this one with 2, this one with 1, because that is not an allied connected section, but these ones are. And this one gets none at all because it's isolated. So the sensible thing, I guess, would be to work your way down and like take out this one first, because if I can, then surely this would lose the combat resolution for having the connected sections. Also, to clarify, because this is, again, not stated, it's unclear whether you need to actually assault from an adjacent one. It says that models in adjacent things can assist in a fight or can sort of contribute to the fight, but I treat it as you have to sort of assault the thing in the movement phase, and therefore Skullsmasherz cannot, because he moved in the movement phase, so he's not in this fight. So we'll start with this one. We've got MacLeod versus the handgunners, Waaagh, and the Great Cannon. And any combination of these can defend, and it's still limited to the, I believe, 10 models. Yeah, 10 models. So we've got MacLeod versus, I think it's just going to have to be 10 handgunners, because like Waaagh isn't going to fight, and the crewman would be a waste. So yeah, 10 handgunners, not including the champion, versus MacLeod. Did they do a stand and shoot reaction? They didn't, did they? Alright, yeah, so the handgunners get a stand and shoot reaction against MacLeod. I don't think they did. I don't remember doing another one. So yeah, champion first. Miss. 9 others. 7. I'm getting deja vu. Maybe I did do this. No, I didn't, because here are all my charges, and I haven't actually rolled any, yeah, I haven't done any attacks since I rolled all the charges. So yeah, so that was 7 hits. No, again, I did it on a bloody 3+. That's actually only 4 hits. 3 bloody wounds, though. MacLeod's dead. Okay, well, that's not good for them, is it? He just gets killed on the bloody charge. So yeah, they are no longer in combat. When a giant is slain, they fall over, so you roll to see which direction they fall over. Because I guess, can it even do anything against a wall if he falls over? No, because he wasn't actually in combat, so it would be sort of here. So yeah, no, he would have, the stand and shoot reaction, it would have been from where he was, like here, so falling over would have done nothing. Carrying on, we have the gate assault. So first of all, Skullsmasherz is going to try and breach the gate. So on a 4+, because it is normally a 5+, and if it's a gate section, it gets +1. So on a 4+, nope, the gate is not breached. So instead, we just have the orcs versus the greatswords. And despite the black orcs halving their initiative from 2 to 1, they do still attack first, because greatswords have always strikes last. So they're going to go with, they have arm to the teeth, meaning they get to choose the weapon they use. They're going to use 2 hand weapons because they want to get in as many kills as possible. And they get to reroll to hit. So the champion will challenge, first of all. Do they still have a champion? No, they do not. Their one died in... their champion starved to death, so no challenge. We've just got the champion and 9 black orcs versus 10 greatswords. Even with the halved weapon skill, they're still hitting on a 4+. Champion misses all 3. Additional attacks mean 18 black orc attacks. 10 hit. Oh yeah, I do get to reroll. I did forget that immediately. So rerolling the 8, total of 15. And rerolled one of the champions to a hit, so a total of 16 hits. 9 wounds. Due to choppers, on the first turn they have +1 strength, so actually that should probably be more wounds. Yeah, I think that's actually... yeah, that's actually... Oof. It's actually 14 wounds. Yeah, they needed a 2+, so 14 bloody wounds. Due to the high strength, they do get an armor save, but it's not very good. So that is... Wow, they still passed bloody 5 of them. 9 wounds caused. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the boiling oil. God, almost didn't forget something then. Boiling oil... any model under the template takes a strength 4 hit with armor piercing, so this probably wouldn't actually affect the combat because it's not going to do enough damage. But yeah, so this has to be placed in touch with the boards. In touch with the thing. So normally stand and shoot attacks have to be done sort of literally as soon as they're within any range at all. But I think for the boiling oil, it makes sense that it's something you pour over the wall as they're climbing up. So I'm just going to say that it's after they have actually made contact, just because it makes sense, and otherwise the boiling oil would be so terrible it would only ever hit 1 maximum. So first of all, a lookout, sir, for the champion. Where was I? Yes, sorry. I'm gonna remove the 9 before I forget, and then I'll do the boiling oil. Lookout, sir. Passed. So that's 18 Black Orcs hit by the boiling oil. Only 5 wounds. They do get an armor save. None of them pass. So that is 5 Black Orcs killed by boiling oil. And that is their 1 use of that gone. Leaving a total of 8 great swords, and screw it, we may as well have the 2 crewmen join in. Because otherwise, yeah, otherwise they are short of the ones who can actually fight. So due to their reduced weapon skill, the crewmen have a decent chance to hit. 2 hit, 1 wound, saved by armor. And this is where the damage will be done. 8 great sword attacks. They're great weapons. They have +2 strength, 6 hit, 4 wound. And because they used 2 hand weapons, they get no armor. Because they don't get their shields. So that is 4 more dead. So with nothing else added, you don't get any ranks, bonuses in a battle like this. The great swords lose by 4. However, great swords are stubborn, so they're always steadfast. So they are testing on an 8 with a reroll due to Gaston being right beside them. So they're probably going to hold. Fail, and the reroll... Oh, that could have been a 3, but it decided it was a 1. So that is a pass. Which means the combat is over. It doesn't continue into the next round because of the way building assaults work, so they back up an inch. And that is the end. Next, the Orc Boys versus Gaston and his swordsman. First of all, Waaagh is going to challenge, which I guess will be accepted by Gaston. And then it'll be the champion and 9 boys versus... Oh, hang on. Boiling oil... So Waaagh and the champion both get a lookout, sir. Waaagh, fine. Champion, fine. Another 18. 7. And at that strength with armor piercing, it goes straight through their armor. So that is 7 wounds. But yes, it's Waaagh, the champion, and then 8 boys versus Gaston. Is the champion alive? Yes, Gaston the champion, Culper, and 7 swordsmen. So actually, Culper is going to accept the challenge rather than Gaston. I forgot he was in the unit, so I am going to stick him on the wall just so I can remember for the future. But yes, Culper's going to accept the challenge. However, Gaston is carrying the Wailing Banner, which means he inflicts terror. So Waaagh unit are going to have to test for fear. They are, however, within range of Cromgit, so they're testing on his 9 with a reroll. They pass. Culper has great weapons, so he strikes last. So Waaagh first. And he is a Black Orc as well, so he gets to choose. He is going to go with additional hand weapons, because they got choppers. Weapon skill is halved, again against a great weapon, so it doesn't matter on initiative. He gets 4 attacks, 3 plus the... Oh wow, 4 misses, but he can reroll. Rerolled into 3 hit. Choppers gives him +1 strength, 2 wounds. Strength 5, it actually goes straight through Culper's armor. He only has 2 wounds, so Culper's... Oh, he only had 1 wound left because he half-starved. Yeah, Culper's dead. Culper is just killed in the very first bloody turn by Waaagh because he was half-starved and didn't even get a chance to fight back. It's then Gaston and the swordsman against the orc boys because their initiative is cut, and I think they were slower anyway. So Gaston versus the boys. 1 hit. No wound. Then it is the champion and 7 other swordsmen. The champion has 2 attacks, so a total of 9. 8 hit. 3 wound. Armor. 2 pass. And I believe they get a parry in an assault, but they fail that. So 1 orc boy is killed. That is the best they could do. Then there are 10 boy attacks back, however they've got an abysmal chance to hit because of their halved weapon skill. Still, that is bloody 5 hits. Oh yeah, they do get to reroll. 4 wounds, so sorry, rerolling to hit. So 4 wounds and an additional 3 hits. So we're up to 7 wounds now. Sorry, they have choppers. Wouldn't actually have affected anything. They didn't roll any 3s. Yeah, it was either 1s or 4s. Okay, does affect their armor though. So they get an armor and a parry. That is 1 armor, no parry. So 6 swordsmen dead. Oof, the dead pile is very big for turn 1. I don't believe they get any bonuses at all, like not even from the banner. Yep, no bonuses whatsoever. So that means the orc boys win by 5. So they're testing, they are always counted as steadfast, I believe. So actually it didn't matter if the greatswords were steadfast. I'm fairly sure being in a building means they're always steadfast. Yep. So they're testing on Gaston's 8 with a reroll. Oh, plus 1 extra dice they're testing on. So 4, yeah, with the 1. So that's a total of 5 because he's a captain, so he rolls 3 for a break test. So they pass their break test and the fight is over. And once again, they just back up an inch because unless the section is breached, it is rock hard to attack. And then the final fight is Cromgit and his Biggins versus the Furman Greatswords, who do still have their champion. Yep, and their boiling oil. So boiling oil first. I don't know why I'm bothering putting it here. It's the champion, Cromgit, and a total of 18. So, you know, I've already done it twice. Don't need to measure it a third time. Lookout Sir for Cromgit. Passes. Lookout Sir for the champion. Fails. So the champion and 17 are hit. Champion. Wounded. 17. 9 are wounded. At that strength they get no armor. So that is the champion and 9 others are killed. Nope, wrong unit. Champion and 9 others. And that may seem really powerful, but it is just a one and done thing. So I am not like upset about that doing that. So now we have the assault. So it's Cromgit and 9 Biggins versus the Greatswords champion, and yeah, the Furman is not fighting. So the Greatsword champion and 9 Greatswords. Cromgit will challenge the Greatsword champion because Cromgit is kitted up now. The longer he's in power, the more magic items he accumulates. So he has the Sword of Anti-Heroes, which gives him +1 strength and +1 attack for every enemy character in base contact. There are none. He has the Armor of Destiny, which gives him a ward save. So yeah, he's looking pretty good for himself. But he has to use the Sword of Anti-Heroes in the fight, so that does just give him +1 strength overall, I believe. Or is it just? I'm going to have to look this up. Rules as written, he has to use the magic item, even though in this case it would have absolutely no effect. I don't like that as a thing, so I'm going to say that Black Orcs can always choose, because, you know, it's their special rule. Makes sense. I mean, to be honest, it's the same with all things. I sort of think that characters should always be able to choose whether they use the magic item if they have alternates equipped. So yes, he is going to go with 2 hand weapons instead. So he has 5 attacks, still decent chance to hit. 1 bloody hit. However, he's strength 5 +1 for the choppers, so yeah, that's a wound. And at strength 6, that does actually go straight through the Greatsword champion's armor. So he's just dead from 1 hit, because just Waaagh is not Waaagh, the other one, Cromgit, is just that strong. But greatswords, so they're all wielding greatswords, so it's all 9 of the Biggins first. Only 2 hit, and they don't get the reroll, which is such a shame because they've got a great chance to wound because of the choppers. So 2 wounds, armor Both failed, so that is 2 more dead. That is poor. That could have gone so much better for them. So then it is just 9 ordinary greatswords striking at the unit. 7. Great weapons give them +2 strength. 5 wounds. No armor. Oh, they do get a parry. No parries. So that is the whole back rank gone. Wow, it's really awkward that the one orc unit that lost the fight is Cromgit's one. Ooh, okay, yeah. So they lose, and they are testing on Cromgit's leadership. They are steadfast, yeah, because they've only got 3 full ranks, whereas they've got 5. So they're steadfast. They're testing on Cromgit's 9 with a reroll. Pass. But they still back up the inch for the fight being over. That is it. Oof, that was a bloody turn 1. Yeah. Into Wissenland turn 1. Because I decided that building assaults have to be done in the charge phase, I think the greatswords are going to charge Skullsmasherz, because they'd rather take him on their own without having the Black Orcs assisting. So they are going to fight Skullsmasherz. And because they have 1 connected occupied thing, they start off with +1. But that is it for movement. I don't think anyone else needs to move, because we're holding all the places we need to, and the handgunners don't want to be holding. Magic, 7. Channeling Wissenland, 1. Channeling Skulls, none. I think the Furman is going to begin with the transformation of Caden, his favourite spell, which I don't think I actually cast last time he appeared. So I'm going to try on 4 dice. He's a level 3 wizard, so I need a total of 13 on 4 dice. Ooh. Nope, fell short. Never mind. And now it's either going to be Chain Lightning or the Comet of Cassandora. Like, the Comet I should cast early, and I'll place it here, and then if there are any... I don't know. Suddenly the Comet doesn't feel as good, considering they are likely to be in the walls by the time it lands. And, oh god, imagine if the Comet landed as the relief force came in. God, that would... He might be executed for that. Yeah, alright, I'm going to go with Chain Lightning. It's got a range of 24, direct damage. Yeah. So I'm going to do Chain Lightning here. Here, at this one. Because then it can arc down here if need be. Whereas I would go for these, but they're not actually within 6 inches of any other enemies, so it would be a bit of a waste. Not even within 6 inches of the walls for Skullsmasherz. Oh, maybe. Arguably. Yeah, maybe just within range of Skullsmasherz. You know what? Yeah, I think actually I'm going to go for Skullsmasherz with this. And then arc it, because Skullsmasherz has all of his wounds, and Chain Lightning is D6 strength 6 hits, so it's going to be the best against something like a single powerful thing. So yeah, let's go with, he needs a 15. He is a 2nd level, so he needs a 13 again on 4 dice. Which he gets. They're going to use 4 to dispel, but Big Oli Ed is carrying the Staff of Sorcery, which gives +1 to dispel, so he actually gets a +5 to dispel. So he needs to roll an 18 on 4 dice, which is still a tall order. Yeah, not even close. So even with the 5 to dispel... oh no, sorry, no he didn't. He needed a total of 21, so he needed 16 on 4 dice, but still. Yeah, not even close. So Chain Lightning goes through at Skullsmasherz. Buildings do not provide additional protection against spells, so because it doesn't roll to hit, he's just hit. So he takes D6 strength 6 hits, and then it can arc. So Skullsmasherz takes 2 strength 6 hits. Not going to kill him, but will hopefully dent him a bit. That's 2 wounds, no armor of any kind, so Skullsmasherz loses a third of his wounds. And then I roll, and it is on a 3+, it arcs. It doesn't, that's a shame, but at least he damaged Skullsmasherz, that's a plus. Shooting, I think it's best if I just move down the line. Remember that because they have to back up at the end of a building assault, none of these are in combat. So they are all viable shooting targets. But we'll start off with the handgunners, who are going to shoot at... Oh, I think the Night Goblins. So they're within half range. 10 can shoot from the wall, so that is the champion and 9 handgunners. Champion, hit. Everybody else, 3, total of 4. 3 wounds, straight through the armor, so that is 3 Night Goblins dead. Not enough for a panic, and nothing else is going to be shooting at them. Actually, I'll just put them here just in case, because, you know, we've got rocket batteries which could go anywhere. Speaking of which, rocket battery. First of all, roll a d3 to see how many rockets are fired. Just the one. It's got quite a range, doesn't have a minimum range, so I guess I'm just going to fire it bloody right there. Is this stupid? This might be incredibly stupid. I'm basically firing a rocket just downwards. These are always counted as indirect fire, but there is only the one. So it goes this way 2 inches, but I believe that means it's not going to scatter at all because because it's a hit, you reduce it by their ballistic skill, and their ballistic skill is 3, so that is effectively a direct hit. So that hits 9 of them. Unfortunately, it's a low chance to wound against orcs, but that is 3 wounded, and I don't believe it is armor piercing. Oh, no, it is. So it's armor piercing. They do therefore still get an armor save, which none of them pass. So that is 3 boys blown up by rockets. Next is the mortar. As I'm continuing down the line, they are going to indirect fire, because that is all they can do. Oh, no, it's turn 1. Sorry. I got really excited thinking, oh, what about the relief force? No, not yet. The mortar is going to aim there, worryingly close to the wall. Is that within their minimum? Minimum of 12 inches. No. Like the edge is 14 away, so yeah, that's fine. That scatters 4 inches in that direction. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, okay. No, we're fine. I do need to put it on 2D, though. 4 inches in this direction to there. So, that is scarily close to the walls. Oh, it's not easy to hit things with the mortar. Right, so I would say that does clip Waaagh. So Waaagh is going to have to take a look out, sir, and then 10 others, because I don't think this guy's quite hit. So Waaagh and 10. If Waaagh gets his look out, sir, then it is 11. He passes, so that is 11 getting hit, none are getting directly hit. So actually a remarkably low chance, because the mortar has lower strength than none. Oh, that is a really bad roll. Most of those were 2s. Alright, even though the mortar threaded the needle, it didn't hit anything. And the other Hellstorm. And it fires 2 shots. Let's go right there. Again, really close to the walls, but no minimum range. This one goes... Do I roll 2 at a time? I can't remember. A single artillery dice and the number of scatter. Alright, well... Uh-oh. That is bad. That is definitely going to hit something of ours. Oh, no. Oh, no. So the first one goes 10 inches in this direction. And hits... You're going to have to lift up. And hits... There. Alright, that does clip 3 orcs. Yeah, 3 orcs. And this wall. So this wall takes... the swordsmen take d6 hits. First of all, the 3 orcs, they suffer 1 wound. Armor failed. There's 1 boy so far. And the swordsmen take d6 hits. 3. 2 wound. They also get an armor. 1 save, so 1 dies. Oof. That is not good. And now the second one goes in pretty much exactly the same place. This is the left of the thingies. So that goes to there. So it's actually a bit more on the orcs, this one. It does still hit the wall. Yep, definitely hits the wall still. But it looks like it hits 9 orcs, including the champion. Look out, sir. Champion is fine, so it hits 9 ordinary orcs. Resulting in 3 wounds. 1 was saved, 2 more die. D6 hits on the swordsman, 3. I mean, luckily this isn't particularly high power. 1 wound, failed the armor. So that has killed a total of 2 swordsmen. They're probably not going to get hit by anything else, so I can move them away. And yeah, a total of 3 orcs. Then we have the Great Cannon. What can the Great Cannon shoot at? I mean, there are the bolt throwers, but they're really not particularly high threat. I think I'm more inclined to just blast down the line and see how many of those we can hit. Like, if we get pretty much as close as we can to this, like, ideally it would, like, land there and then go 10, and it might... Oh, no, it won't. Basically, it can only hit 1 unit. They're spaced out enough. But, yeah, I'm going to fire this way. So we're going to aim there. I don't believe this has a minimum range. Nope, it does not. So, aiming there, firing straight down here. Sadly, we can't shoot Skullsmasherz with it. But it overshoots by 8. So it hits here, right on the corner. I think it was there. Sorry, I had to turn off snap. And it then bounces 10 inches. Nice. So 17.2, so it goes to 27.2. Okay, so I guess if it did land in the middle, it can hit too. So that is hitting, by my count, 3 ranks of Black Orcs and 3 ranks of Orc Boys. That is not too bad. So it can only hit 1 per... see, when a cannonball hits the side of a unit, it treats these as the ranks instead of the files. So basically, it hits this one, and this one. And then this one, and this one. But it can only hit 1 per rank. So it's going to roll against 3 Black Orcs and then 3 boys. Strength 10, no armor saves of any kind against these. So any 2... Wow, it actually failed to kill a Black Orc. So 2 Black Orcs dead, and wow, 2 Orcs dead as well. But none of these are strong enough to stop the blow, I don't think. No, I think it's just bolts that can stop them. So that is a total of 5 boys died in this shooting, and 2 Black Orcs. Not enough for anyone to trigger panic. And then finally we have the handgunners, who are going to go for... I don't know. These ones, I guess? They also have their champion and 9 ordinary gunners. Champion, hit. 9 others. 7 hits. 8 total. 5 wound. And at that, no armor. So that is a full quarter of the unit, and they have to take a panic. On a measly 5, they pass. Okay. So they hold on. And then the last thing is the Greatswords versus Skullsmasherz. So only 10 Greatswords can fight. These are the ones on the gate. So there is no champion, and there are not even 10 of them. There are 8 Greatswords, and I guess 2 rocket crewmen, because I mean, they fired, so I guess technically they shouldn't be able to, but at the same time they're sort of treated separately. I don't know, the rules doesn't really say. So I'm going to say that they can't because they fired. So instead, it's just 8 Greatswords versus Skullsmasherz. The Greatswords have great weapons, obviously, so Skullsmasherz goes first, despite having virtually no speed of any kind. Actually, he's on initiative 3, it's not bad. But giants don't fight in the normal way. I roll a d6, and they get 2. Jump up and down. Whether they can do this when fighting a building, I guess we are saying that they can. Maybe the fighting's sort of on the wall instead of in the gatehouse. First of all, test to see if he falls over, which is roll a dice, and on a 1 he falls. He doesn't. And then the target unit takes 2d6, strength 6 hits. Oh, this could be very bad. 8 strength. Oh no! Oh no, 8 strength 6 hits. That is going to shred their armor. So that is only 4 wounds. Wow, he got very unlucky. I guess it's difficult to jump on them. Actually, I think strength 6 does go straight through their armor. So 4 of them just get crushed, and they have no chance to resist it. So bad for them. They do now get to fight back, so they may kill him. All 4 of them, because there are only 4 left, 3 there and 1 here. All 4 of them need to wound him in order to kill him. 4 attacks. Oh, 2 hit. And then plus 2 strength from their weapon. 1 wound. So that means bad things for them. So he loses a wound, but yeah. Oh, sorry, also terror. I did forget about terror. So they're testing on 8, I think, or 9, because they're probably in range of the general. Doesn't matter, they passed. And then the giant does also get Thunder Stomp. So 3 additional Strength 6 hits after all of the rest. So that's 2 more wounds. That's, I'm afraid, still no armor. That is 2 more greatswords left. Oh, as in, sorry, 2 more died. There are 2 left in the unit. That's very bad. Maybe they shouldn't have attacked, but they would have been attacked by Skimbleshanks and the orcs as well, because they get 10 models, and I believe a monster counts as 5. So they would have had to fight Skimbleshanks with all of that, and 5 Black Orcs as well. So I think this was the right choice, even if they are going to die. So they're stubborn, so they are testing on... Oh no, their general isn't here, of course, he isn't on the board yet, but they do get to reroll because of Gaston, so they're testing on 8 with a reroll. Pass. They hold, despite being almost dead. And we go into Skullsmasherz Turn 2. First off, Animosity. Because none of them count as in combat, they must all roll. So we have Night Goblins, Big Uns, Boys, and 2 more Night Goblins, because the Black Orcs are not affected by Animosity. So I will go left to right. Goblins, fine. Big Uns, fine. Ordinarians, fine. Left Night Goblins, fail. Roll on the Animosity table. They get 2 Squabble. They must declare a charge against the closest enemy unit. I don't know that they can, because it was these guys. Oh yeah, that tower is in their front arc, so yes, they can. And then the last Night Goblins, also fine. So the only failure was this. I will do that first, so I do not forget that they must. So they are having to charge this. That is the closest one, because the other one is further away. So this is the closest one. It is within the front arc, so they are going to... They're actually within minimum, so they just charge. So they can do their wheels, so they just... Boom. They just charge that. And the handgunners are going to stand and shoot. So the handgunners, they get all 10 that can fire, so that's the champion and 9 others. Stand and shoot has a -1 to hit, which I always forget. Champion misses. Everybody else, 6. 4 wound, and at that, no armor. But that is not quite enough to trigger panic. Ooh, literally 1 more wound, and they would have had to test for panic on the charge. Here, these ones are going to charge, so they are 9, increased to 10, so they need to get a 6 to charge the handgunners. They fail again, however they do get shot again. So that is, again, the champion and 9. Champion, miss. Everybody else, 3. No wounds, triple 1, that's poor. But they only move 2 inches forwards. These guys really don't want to be here. That's twice they failed a charge against relatively squishy opponents. Anyway, these big uns, these are the big uns. They are going to charge. So this is Cromgit's unit, is again just charging in. And... oh, I think I'm going to declare a Waaagh this turn. It is arguable whether the Waaagh actually counts when assaulting buildings, because specifically buildings don't allow other bonuses, but I would say I'm going to allow it, both because this is a siege battle, and if you can't declare a Waaagh when you're assaulting a castle, when the hell can you? But also because I just think it makes sense that this breaches that normal rule. So they all have +1 to combat resolution, but the general's unit has +D3. So I shall roll that now. He gets, well, 1. +1 to his roll, and all the others. So yeah, basically every combat, the orcs will get +1 to their combat resolution this turn only. But not the goblins, just the orcs. So these guys don't have anything else they can use to stand and shoot, so instead they get rocks, which is a siege thing. Basically, they get to throw rocks, and on a 5+ it hits, regardless of ballistic skill or lack thereof, and then it's a strength 3 hit. Are there 10 in this tower? Yes, there are, so that is 10 things hitting on a 5+. 2 hits. Good job. Low chance to wound. 1. Armor. Failed. So that is one more big and dead. Like, they have lost quite a lot already as well. Like, I do keep being amazed at how much they've lost this early in the fight, but, like, sieges hurt. Like, all round, basically. So they get +1, whereas the defenders get +2 because they have 2 connected fortress sections. Same thing here, the Waagh's boys are going to charge in, and again, they get to throw rocks. There are more than 10, so 10 more rocks. 1 hit. No wound. The Black Orcs are feeling pretty good about this assault, so they are going to push the gate. And Skullsmasherz... Ooh, Skullsmasherz, who's he going to go for? Like, they don't really need his help with the greatswords. They're almost certainly going to kill them on their own. So I guess Skullsmasherz is going to turn around and go charging down this end. Not, it's not actually moving. He's counted as everywhere in the terrain piece at once. So he's going to instead attack the tower. Then the rest of the movement, Scrap Thumb is going to move up a little just to there. Zippy. And Olied just to stay within range of their things. And then these guys are going to move 4 inches up. And they are going to have to test for leadership to march. So they need a 5, which they don't get, so they cannot march. The goblins, why do we even bring them? All this is doing is reinforcing Cromgit's assumptions about goblins. Oh yeah, sorry, these guys get to throw rocks as well. So there are technically 4 people in here who can throw rocks. I'm going to allow the crewmen to as well. So 4 rock throwing. 1. No wound. Magic. 4. I think I'm going to go with an Itchy Nuisance. I really don't have many dice to spend, so I think I can only get maybe 1, maybe 2 spells, but like orc spells tend to be a little more costly. So I think I'm going to go with an Itchy Nuisance on, I suppose I could try that on 2 dice. That's a low chance. No, I'm just going to put all 4 into it. It's not a good magic phase. So Itchy Nuisance against the Swordsman, because like these guys have great weapons, so they're hitting last anyway, but the swordsmen are going to hit before the orc boys. So if I can reduce their initiative by d6 to a minimum of 1, then that could really help with storming this wall. 2nd level wizard, god, what am I talking about? So that is a total of 17 with his level. They need a 13, so they can't roll a 13. Well, they need a 17, they can't roll a 13, so they need a double 6 to dispel, which they almost get, but not enough. So that means the swordsmen reduce their movement and initiative by d6 until the next magic phase. So they reduce it by 4. So their initiative was not 5, or it wasn't 6, so it is reduced all the way down to 1. Actually, their movement and initiative are both reduced to 1 because they were, shooting. I mean, there's really just this one wall again as the only viable shooting target. So we'll have the bolt thrower shoot, it is within half range, miss, and the second bolt thrower at long range, miss, and the third one is out of range. Combats. We have 4 combats to do. This could be messy and I expect it to be incredibly bloody. Like with last time, I'm going to use a little bit of a trick here to try and skew it in the orcs' favour by doing the combats, because they get to choose the order, by doing the combats that way. Because if they take out these guys, they lose an additional combat resolution. So start off with the Black Orcs, and the Black Orcs are most likely going to storm the keep here. So the Black Orcs versus the Great Swords and the Hellstorm Battery. Yeah, it's not looking good for the defenders. So we've got 10 Black Orcs versus 2 Great Swords and 2 crewmen. And the Black Orcs, I think, actually go after... Yeah, they go after the crewmen. Black Orcs are going to use dual hand weapons. And because of the halved weapon skill, the crewmen actually have a decent chance to hit. Which they both do. 2 wounds. No armor. Wow, the crewmen actually kill 2 Black Orcs. However, that is probably the last damage that's going to come out of this. So, we have the champion. They all have dual weapons, which means they have 21 attacks against these guys. So, I don't know how to do this, I guess. I think I'm going to allocate them focusing on the black swords. So I'm just going to get the 21 on a tracker, because the great swords are obviously yet to attack and the biggest threat. So I'll do the champion's attacks first. 3 misses. And then I'm basically going to do these 2 at a time until I get a hit. Nope. Nope. 2 hits. Wow, these 2 are good. Oh no, that one guy, because it's 2 attacks each. Because it is technically the first round of combat again, they get choppers. That is powerful. So that's 2 wounds because of the choppers. They get a meager armor, which both of them fail. So that one orc just killed the remaining greatswords in the gate. But that means the last 12 attacks all go against the crew of the Hellstorm Battery. Oh, 7 hit. Yeah, choppers, being able to effectively use choppers every round is very powerful. So the Hellstorm Battery and its remaining crew are killed. And the Black Orcs move to take the gate. So because of that, they no longer have an allied occupied thing on each side, so they only have 1 combat resolution. So let's do this fight next. So it's Waaagh and Orc Boys with the champion against Gaston, Swordsman, and the champion. Was there a challenge? I don't remember. I assume Waaagh challenged. I can't imagine he wouldn't have challenged, and I assume Gaston accepted. So I'm just going to continue with that. Apologies if I am forgetting something else. Waagh's initiative of 3 is halved to 1 because it rounds down. Gaston normally has an initiative of 5 reduced by 4 to 1. So Gaston and Waaagh actually strike at the same time. However, Gaston does inspire terror, so fear, effectively. So seeing if Waaagh, I can tell them apart, fails that, so they're on testing on Cromgit's 9, but they do get the reroll because of the battle standard. Just passes on 9. Not that it actually matters, because it would just turn their weapon skill to 1, which it... Oh no, the weapon skill... Oh yeah, the weapon skill is still different, because their weapon skill is halved, and so Waagh's is down to 3 instead, versus Gaston's 5. Oh no, it was Culpa, wasn't it? Culpa accepted the challenge and died immediately, I remember now. Oh, actually, we wouldn't have rolled that, because Waaagh is carrying Mork's War Banner, and apart from giving D6 magic resistance, which actually hasn't come into it yet because no one's cast any offensive magic on them, it means that all magic items in base contact with the bearer do not work. So as Waaagh is challenged, Gaston's banner, magic banner, does not function, so they're not affected by terror at all. So they're striking at the same time, but I will do Gaston's attacks first. 2 hit, no wound. I didn't say what weapon Waaagh was using as a Black Orc, but given that she didn't... I keep thinking Waagh's a she, sorry. Given that he didn't strike last, that means he must be using the dual hand weapons, so he gets 4 attacks. 2 hit. Because of choppers, that is 1 wound, gets an armor save, and passes. Wow. Now the Orc Boys have their 2 initiative halved to 1, and the Swordsmen have their 3 and 4 initiative, because the champion's faster, also reduced to 1, so all of the Orc Boys strike at the same time as all the Swordsmen. So I will do the Swordsmen first. So they have their champion still, 10 Swordsman attacks, because the champion has 2, 7 hit. It's a small thing, but you really wouldn't expect the Orcs, like, +1 toughness over ordinary men to have this big a difference, but it really does. Only 2 wounds. Armor? Nope. Parry? Nope. 2 boys, but that is a drop in the bucket. The big green orky bucket. They actually have different chances to hit, so just the champion first, 2 hit, and then all the others, 3 more, total of 5. 3 wound. Oh, sorry. I forgot choppers. That would have been 4 wounds. 2 past their armor. And then the 4th also passed, so that's only 1 wound still going through. Failed the parry. So that is actually really unfortunate for the Orcs. So they only killed 1 swordsman. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the Orcs still lose even with the +1 from the combat resolution. Bloody hell. Okay. yeah, they lose. They are steadfast because they have more ranks, but they do still have to test. On Cromgit's 9 with a reroll, pass. But they back up an inch. And instead of doing this one, I'm going to come over and do this one next. Because, yeah, actually, they get a +1. Because they are actually attacking from... or is it just the defender? Let me check. A defending unit. So no, the Skullsmasherz doesn't get a +1 for the Black Orcs being in the gatehouse. First of all, they have to test on Terror for Skullsmasherz. On a 7, pass. And it's going to be 10 ordinary handgunners fighting. Valo is not getting involved. And they actually have the same initiative as Skullsmasherz. And then there are 5 Night Goblins as well. So I'll do the handgunners first. I really have no idea who to attack. Like, what chance do they have against Skullsmasherz? I guess he is the bigger threat. So I'm going to split up attacks. So I've got 10 attacks total. I'm going to do them as few as I can against Skullsmasherz until he's dead. So, first of all, 1 hit, no wound. 1 hit, a wound. 1 hit, no wound, no hits. Good job, guys. Like, they had a decent chance to hit Skullsmasherz as well, and they fluffed it badly. Now, Skullsmasherz does a random attack. 2 is jump up and down again. First of all, see if he falls over on a 1. He does not. So instead he does 2d6, 7 strength 6 hits. That's 6 wounds, no armor of any kind. You see why I was so concerned about... I mean, to be honest, giants are giants, you know, they're a threat regardless. But you see why I was so concerned about letting anything onto the walls. Like, these 2 were undefended, and this tower... I mean, admittedly, I suppose maybe the mistake here was leaving the 2 undefended things around a valuable tower. But at the same time... Like, when they're focusing their attack here, you've got to put as much as you can here, and I'd already spent points to buff up this tower, so I don't know. Maybe that was a mistake, but I don't know how else the defenders could have done that. They just didn't have enough people. Like, a thing in the siege rules that I didn't talk about because I didn't really see the worth of it, is you can split up units. So, like, when I had these handgunners, I could have said, oh yes, this unit of 20 handgunners is now 10 and 10, and put them in 2 separate things. And that would allow me to cover everything with just purchasing the same number of units, but it means that each one is so flimsy, there's just no point. You know, when you spread yourself too thin, you just cannot hold all the fronts. And now, finally, we have 5 Night Goblins who are at bloody weapon skill 1. 2 hit. Still 2 wounds. And handgunners don't wear armor, so that's 2 more dead. So at the end of that... yeah, the attackers win quite considerably. They are still steadfast because they're holding a building, so they're testing on a 7 to not break and flee, which they fail. I'm going to have to see what happens with the siege weapon. If a war machine fails their break test, which I'm counting this as they're taking a combined break test, even though it's technically 2 separate units, they are destroyed. So the idea is they just abandon the weapon and the invading goblins destroy it. However, these guys do exit the building. Actually, they can retreat into a separate section. So maybe this is really stupid, but I'm going to put them in this section and have them continue to defend. So they're actually in this wall instead. So Valo has lost access to all of these additional spells. So I'll just flip them over for now. But it means that he can continue to contribute and isn't just going to be stuck outside the walls. And I will have the goblins move in. So actually I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm just going to put the whole lot on there. Why not? And then finally we have Cromgit and his Biggins versus the Furman and his Great Swords. Cromgit will challenge, and the only character left is the Furman. He was really hoping to be in monster form by now, but sadly he is not. He also knows he is definitely going to die. So, I think he is going to refuse the challenge. Can you do that? Yeah. Yeah, you can. So actually, how many are left? Oh no, there are plenty. So actually, he isn't in the assault at all, so there's no challenge to refuse. Because you can only accept or issue challenges to people who are in the assault. So the assault party is 10 ordinary greatswords, so therefore there is no Furman to be challenged. So instead, we just do the fight normally. So because the great swords have great weapons, all of the orcs go first. Cromgit is going to use 2 weapons, and then it's just the big uns. 5 Cromgit attacks. 1. That's poor. But with choppers, it goes straight through the armor if it wounded, which it does not. I guess Cromgit is feeling bad he can't kill the Furman today. Or right now. You know, he may get his chance. So there's no big uns champion, so it is just 9 ordinary big uns. 4 hit. Or 4 wounds. And due to their choppers, that is 3 wounds. Oh, my mistake. Sorry, I did the giant attack slightly wrong. Seems only half the models can single out an enemy like the giant, or in this case, Cromgit. So actually, all 10 shouldn't have been able to attack the giant. My mistake, but I'll let it slide this time. Me, you know. Don't do it again. That was me slapping my wrist. It's fine. Don't worry. Moving on. Armor. 1 pass, so that is 2 great swords killed. That is actually a very disappointing combat for the orcs, because there are still enough great swords that all 10 are going to be able to strike back, and 5 of them are going for Cromgit. 4 hit, still not a massively high chance to wound, but 4 wounds. The high strength goes straight through his armor save, because he doesn't have a shield, he used 2 weapons. But he does have a 4+ ward save from his Armor of Destiny, which, he fails 3. Oh no, he only has 3 wounds. Cromgit just got killed by ordinary greatswords. Bloody hell. I did not expect that. Oh, okay, well, damn. And then 5 great swords against the rest. Oh, I'm crushed. I really like Cromgit. He grew on me quite a bit in this campaign. 5 against Biggins. 3. 3 wounds. No armor and no parries. Yikes. That combat went terribly. Like, I thought they had that in the bag. Oh, okay. Well, at the end of that, the Biggins are going to have to test. Let's see, they have a total of 3 ranks. They have a total of 3 ranks as well. So they're not steadfast. They don't have enough. They don't have more ranks. So they are testing on a -7, which is a double 1. They do get a reroll because Waaagh is right there. They're close, but not enough. The big uns break, and they flee 8 inches. Oh no. That is devastating for what was once Cromgit's war. So they move 8 inches to there. Oh, they can't be pursued because they are in a tower, obviously. They're just beyond the 6 inches to test, but Scrap Thumb and... ooh, actually, maybe both of these? Zippy and the Orc Boys. Yeah, they would have been in range for the lightning, so yeah, they'll be in range for this. So Scrap Thumb, Zippy, and the Orc Boys all have to test for Panic. Scrap Thumb on a 6 with a reroll. Fail. Flees 8 inches. From the nearest enemy is that building, so he just turns and goes 8 inches away to there. Zippy on a 7. Pass. Waagh's unit on an 8. Fail, and the reroll. Pass. This board suddenly seems really empty. Just the world seems emptier without Cromgit. Is it just me? As we go into Wissenland Turn 2. And it is time for the relief roll. At the start of every turn, starting with the defender's turn 2, you roll 2d6 and add the turn number. On a 10 or more, the relief force arrives. So, because it is turn 2, we need a 10 on 2 dice for the relief force to arrive. Which it does not. So what the hell do we do now? Like, that was a good victory, but the rest of the siege is still going quite poorly. So we've got Valo and his handgunners here. They're obviously not going to charge anything. They're better off shooting. I think Gaston and his swordsmen are going to assault the Black Orcs in the gate, because they want to reclaim the gate, they want to weaken the Black Orcs, and they want to do this fight when they're not going to be hit on both sides. So they get +1 for having this connected section, but I think that is all the movement. Magic, 7. Channeling Wissenland, nope. Channeling the 2 non-fleeing on the skulls, 1. I think I'm going to go with a Uranan Thunderbolt on 3 dice against the Night Goblins in the tower. Oh, you know what Skimbleshanks didn't do? He didn't try and breach any walls, but at this point, he's not near any walls I want to breach. You know, at this point, we're conquering the castle on this end. I say we. They are conquering the castle. So yes, Uranan's Thunderbolts on 3 dice. 2nd level wizard, so he needs I just saw it, he needs a 10. Sorry, an 8 on 2 dice. Oh, bloody irresistible. Never mind. So that's D6 strength 6 hits against the goblins in the tower. So that's 4 strength 6 hits against the goblins in the tower. They're going to get no saves of any kind against this. So that's 4 dead. That is over a quarter, so they have to immediately test for panic on a 5. Which they hold. Wow. I guess they're like, yeah, so what? We've got a tower now. And the miscast, 11. Power drain. The wizard's level is reduced, so he's a 2nd level wizard. He is now a 0th level wizard. Welp. Thanks, Valo. And then 4 dice left. I really want to do the transformation, but I'm just not going to get it off on 4 dice when they have 5 to dispel. Instead, I'm going to go with Wyson's Wild Form on the Swordsman, who are about to fight the Black Orcs. So for that, it's a 10. He's a 3rd level wizard, so he needs a 7 on 4 dice, which he gets. But they've got 5 dice to dispel, and because of the Staff of Sorcery, they have a total of +5 to their dispel attempt, so they need to roll an 11 on 5 dice, which they do. Shooting! Let's have the handgunners attack these night goblins again, see if we can just keep shooting them until they panic and flee as well. They're still within short range. Champion, hit. 9 others, 5. 4 wounds, no saves. That is enough to cause a panic. Testing on a 5, they panic. Yeah, it was inevitable. So they flee 5 inches. I mean, frankly, these guys were looking for any excuse to not be here, given that they kept failing to charge. But whatever. Rocket Battery is going to go for the big uns, see if we can stop them rallying. And it fires 1 shot. At least it has a much lower chance of scattering onto anything that matters this time. And it goes that way 6 inches, which I think is going to miss everything. Yep, I'm fairly certain. Yep, that has missed everything. Oh well. Next is the Mortar, is going to go for the Orc Boys right there. And hopefully we're going to continue to be lucky with the scatter. I mean, you know, last time the Rocket Battery did hit the wall twice. That way, misfire. The misfire result is 5. May not shoot this turn. Okay. Handgunners, they are going to shoot at the Night Goblins. I mean, they could shoot at the ones in the tower, but they'll get a +2. So they're going to -2 to hit because they are technically shooting into a fortification. So I think they're better off trying to shoot these and get rid of them. So that is the normal shots. Are there still enough? There are not. So there's the champion and 5 others. Champion, miss. 5 others, 3. 1 wound. Good job. Not enough to cause any panic. I think I've worked out one of the problems I have with how siege battles work in Blood in the Badlands. Because of how close they start, it means your hands are tied. So I think the reason the attackers get the first turn is because the defenders get 2 rounds of shooting, effectively, before the combat begins. So that's, you know, all they would really do in their first turn anyway. So that's effectively emulated as them getting 2 first turns, and then the attackers. So I guess that makes sense. The problem is that when, like, I would willingly give up that second round of shooting to get the shooting people off the walls and put fighters on the walls. Because the problem is, you're incentivized to have as many range units as possible on the walls, but they're gonna lose the fights, you know? Like, these handgunners, they got minced. Admittedly by a giant, and, you know, the great swords that were in the gate did better, but it's still, you know, they're going to be minced. Because of how close they start, it's incredibly rare that you're going to fail the charges, and you're just going to be left with a load of shooters getting minced. That's the word I keep using, may as well. So siege battles are pretty much the only time in the entire game where it's really worth having hybrid melee and shooting units. So for that purpose, like elves are definitively the best at siege combat because they can shoot and then fight very well. But pretty much no other armies in the game have anything like that. I guess a way to fix that would be to say, yeah, you can have 2 units on each wall, and you can have like a range unit and a combat unit. But maybe that would be too powerful, I don't know. But like you can do it with the towers and stuff. You can have a siege weapon and another unit in there, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But I don't know, I'm just trying to think of ways, because this doesn't... I don't know. I mean, we're in turn 2, and bloody hell, it's been a massacre. But I still don't know if I like the siege battles as they are presented. Let me know what you think in the comments, if there are ways I could tweak this to make it feel more fair. Even if it is actually coming out as fair, it doesn't feel it. I suppose stuff like the halve weapon skill does mean that you can have people who are less suited to it. And the fact that they back up, actually maybe. Maybe I'm doing it wrong then. Maybe what I should be doing is putting shooters on the walls as much as possible. When they get attacked, I then... Hang on. No, the mortar failed. Yeah, sorry, I confused myself. And then when they hopefully repel the first round of attacks, then in the defender's first turn, you move them out of the wall, you move someone into the wall to hold against subsequent attacks. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. But even then, that's like double concentrating units. Like, I struggled to cover all of this in 3,000 points with decent-sized units that could survive the starvation and a decent-sized relief force. You just don't have enough points to go around. Maybe siege battles only work with really big battles. Like, I genuinely don't know that I could do a siege battle at like 2,000 points, maybe half the battle size. Just these ones instead of this as well. I don't know. Maybe I should experiment, but anyway. Combat. Gaston's swordsmen versus the Black Orcs. Nobody is assaulting the walls, so they are both fighting normally. However, Gaston's unit do still have -4 initiative. I feel I should make use of that, so the Black Orc champion will challenge, and Gaston will accept. Oh, hang on. Waagh's immune to psychology anyway, so the terror thing wouldn't have mattered there. But yeah, Black Orcs are immune to psychology, so they automatically pass their terror. They're going to go with double hand weapons, and because of the -4 initiative, the Black Orc champion actually goes first. 2 hit, +1 strength from the choppers. I kind of feel like Gaston shouldn't have taken this challenge. That's a wound. Armor save, passed. That's good, because I think he's only got 1 bloody wound left. Yeah, he has. Ooh, that was close. And then 18 Black Orc attacks against swordsmen. 8 +1 strength from the choppers means 7 wounds. And at that strength, it goes straight through their armor, but they do get a parry, which 2 of them pass. Wow. So that is, almost half the swordsmen just died. Then it's Gaston and all the swordsmen. Sorry, I should have done Gaston in the challenge part. I completely forgot that that's how I normally do them. Gaston's attacks against the champion. 2 hit, 1 wound, failed his armor, so the champion dies anyway. And due to how few swordsmen are left, even with the champion, they only get 9 attacks. 3, no wounds. So no other bonuses. And that means Gaston's swordsmen lose by 3. They are steadfast because they're in a building. So they're testing on Gaston's 8, rolling 3 for the break because he's a captain. Holds. They're incredibly hard to shift. Steadfast with a captain and a battle standard bearer. No chance they're shifting unless you wipe them out. And then we go into Skullsmasherz Turn 3. I have only 2 animosity tests to take because these 2 are fleeing. This one is garrisoning a building, which means they don't take it. So there is just the boys and the goblins. So, first of all, the boys. Pass. The goblins. Pass. Charges. Let's have the boys once again charge here. And also the Black Orcs are going to charge as well, because the plan here is less for the boys to fight, but for Waaagh and a load of Black Orcs to fight, because they're better at it, and then the Orc boys can move in to the thing when it is captured. So we will do a reaction. There are 9 of them left in the building, because it's these 2 plus 7 of them. So that is 9 rocks. 3 hit, 1 wound, not saved, and no parry against the range. So that is 1 Orc boy killed by rocks. Then over here, these guys are also going to charge, but because they are within the minimum charge distance, the minimum move distance, the handgunners cannot do a stand and shoot with their guns. However, rocks are quick to fire, meaning they can always be thrown. The handgunners are going to throw rocks as well. And there are, including Valo, 7 of them. 2. 1 wound. No armor. That is 1 goblin killed by rocks. And similarly, the night goblins here are going to assault. Largely because I want to do a similar thing where the goblins... Actually, I probably didn't need to assault. Oh well. Where else are they going to go? You know, it's better that they come around here and move around on this side. But yes, I'm actually going to have these goblins fight because these ones have the half initiative and weapon skill. Not that it really matters with goblins. So before I do the rest of the movement, we have the compulsory, which is the 3 fleeing units. So I'll start with the big uns, who do get a reroll as they are within range of Waaagh. On a 7. Pass. Fantastic. I'm very glad that they are coming back. So they are going to immediately reform. And the idea is that they are going to stay roughly where they are. Well, you know, they're going to get a bit closer. But then they are going to be hopefully assisted by the Orc boys in conquering the tower. But then there's still Scrapthum and the Night Goblins. Night Goblins have a leadership of 5. Scrapthum has a leadership of 6. Neither gets the reroll, so Scrapthum fails, flees 5 more inches to there. And the Night Goblins on a 5 fail, shocker, flees 6 inches to there. So luckily they're not actually going to flee through anything because the crew don't matter. So what else? These guys, they're assaulting, so they can't move. Skimbleshanks, he's sort of a lemon at the moment. So I think I will have Skimbleshanks leave this building. And I'm fairly sure when you leave the building, you place like an inch away, and then that's all your movement. Yep, so he gets an inch away. And he is going to be looking over at that mortar pretty soon, and otherwise coming around here to assault from the inside. I mean, he could just go rampaging off into the city of Nuln, and that would ruin the day of a lot of innocent people in Nuln, but he is currently, he's got other stuff to do here. Magic, 8. Channeling Wissenland, nope. Channeling the 2 non-fleeing skulls, no. The question is, are there more units in combat than fleeing? I have 2 fleeing units, but technically I have 4 units in combat. So they do get the +1 strength from Power of Waaagh. So I think I will go with a Gaze of Mork from Zippy against this tower. So he's a 2nd level, which means he needs a 5 or higher. I'm going to cast it on 2 dice. And he frickin' fails miserably. Luckily, that wasn't quite a broken concentration, because that needs to be a 1 or a 2 as the roll. Natural roll. So, yeah, he can still do another thing. I'm not sure if he can do Brain Burster at Gaston, because, like, technically maybe Gaston counts as in combat now? It's really unclear, I would say, because buildings are weird, and I don't know if it counts. I mean, I guess he can headbutt the Furman. So, yeah, alright, I'm going to go with an headbutt on Furman, because he can clearly see sort of up over the associating Orc boys. So, I think because... How far away is he? He's like, 10 inches, 4d6. That is almost certainly within range but I might, considering it's not much, I might upcast it to 12. Like, it's not much of an upcast. So, yeah, I'll upcast it to 12 just to guarantee it hits, because he may be able to just kill the Fur Man before he keeps trying to turn into... He's going to succeed eventually, turning into a powerful monster. So we want to forestall that, by which I mean stop it completely, by putting... Ooh, let's go with 4 dice into an headbutt. And he needs a 12. He is a 4, so he needs 8 on 4 dice. Which he didn't much get, but he did. So that's a total of 15. They're going to go with 5 to dispel. They easily dispel Headbutt. In that case, I guess a Brainburster from Zippy against the Furman. So, targets a single enemy model, even one in a unit, which the Furman is, and a Strength 5 hit. So it won't kill him, because I believe he has 2 wounds left. But it's actually going to be a Strength 6 hit because of Power of Waaagh. So this is, he needs a 6. On 2 dice minus his 2, he needs a total of 4, which he gets. So Brainburster is cast, cannot be dispelled. So the Furman takes a Strength 6 hit. Wounded. It is not multiple wounds. He has no armor save. He has no any saves. So he is reduced to a single wound. Shooting. We have the 3 bolt throwers with not much to shoot at. I mean, there's the tower, I guess, is the best target, considering it's not in combat for the first time. So yeah, that one's in short range. That one is in, just in long range. And this one is also in long range. So 1 in short, 2 in long. Short range, miss. Left long, miss. Right long, miss. Great weapons. Like, when they work, but when they don't, they're crap. 2 combats, let's start over here. So it's going to be 10 of these Night Goblins against Valo and the Handgunners. Valo is going to have to join in because there are fewer than 10 left. They all have initiative 3, so they all strike at the same time. So I'll do Valo and the Handgunners and then the Goblins. And they do all have the same strength and weapon skills. So yeah, Valo is as proficient in combat as Handgunners. So total of 7 attacks, doing them all together, 5. And this is against the ones in here. So I figure these are the bigger threat because, you know, they have essentially better weapon skill and initiative. So yeah, they're all striking at the ones in the Wizard's Tower. 2 wound. No save. No parry. 2 Night Goblins dead. That doesn't take them under the number, but even if it did, they are striking simultaneously. So now 10 Goblins. So I am going to put all of these on the Handgunners because Valo is literally worthless now. He has no magic left. So 10 of these against Handgunners. Fine, I'm going to do 6 against Handgunners because whatever. I mean, it should really be 5, but whatever. I was never going to hit with all of them. So that's 3 hit. No wound. Other 4. 1. Abysmal rolling. No damage whatsoever on either side. So nobody gets anything because technically, now that Skimbleshanks has left this, they don't get a bonus for a connected section. Although I don't know that they would anyway. No, it's the defender gets the bonus. Never mind, they wouldn't get it either way. Doesn't matter. Nothing happens. So that's the end of that combat. So these guys back up an inch. And now here we have Waaagh, who is continuing... Oh no, it's a new challenge. So, actually, where... We don't have the champion anymore, do we? No. I am wondering if Waaagh should even get involved. Yeah, I think he should, because he's capable and he wants to prove that he's probably the next leader of the Skullsmasherz. So yeah, Waaagh is going to challenge, and this time it's going to be accepted by the Swordsman champion. Now that Gaston knows he breaks magic items and is, frankly, threatening. So yes, the champion is going to accept. First of all, testing for terror on Waagh's 8 with a reroll, pass. As Waaagh is going last anyway, I think he's just going to use his great weapon, which gives him +2 strength. Does he even need that? No, because he's going to get the +1 from the choppers, so he's going to go straight through the armor anyway, and he's going to wound on a 2+. No, just the extra attack, then it literally makes no difference. But Swordsman attacks first. 1 hit. No wound. Waaagh, 4 attacks because of the extra weapon. 3 hit. +1 strength from the choppers, meaning 2 wounds. At that strength, it goes straight through the armor, but he gets 2 parries. Fails both. So Waaagh kills the Swordsman champion, leaving Gaston and 7 swordsmen against 9 Black Orcs. I didn't need to test for terror because both Waaagh and all of the Black Orcs are immune to psychology. So the Black Orcs are striking last. Again, it doesn't make any difference because of their high strength whether they use the great weapons or not against swordsmen, so they're going to go with... They do have shields. Now I've got plenty of them. I'm going to go with the extra attack. I want to kill things. Gaston's attacks. 2 wound. No saves, so that is 2 Black Orcs. But it is a massive unit still. It has been very barely hurt. 7 swordsmen. 3. 1 wound. Saved. All of the Black Orcs are using dual weapons, and half of them can attack Gaston. So I think I will start with that. So because it is half the models can attack, I'm going to count sort of the models individually. I'm going to do the attacks. Gaston only has 1 wound, so basically 1 lucky roll, or 1 unlucky roll, depending on which side you're on, will just kill him. So first 1, 2 hit. Because of the choppers, they have a decent chance to wound. 2 wounds, and his armor isn't great. He failed 1. So Gaston gets killed by an ordinary Black Orc. Oof. And that's why I did it like that. So that leaves 16 attacks. Was that really just the first one? Yeah, it was. Oof. Yep, so that now leaves 16 attacks against the rest of the unit. 10 with the +1 from the choppers. They go straight through the armor as... Wow, that's a lot of 6s. Whoa, 10 wounds. So they only have a parry. And there are only 7 of them left. None saved. That is 10 wounds inflicted. The swordsmen are wiped out by the Black Orcs. Oh, that is painful. These Black Orcs are shredding through the defenders. But rather than them moving in, it's going to be the... oh, actually, maybe I should have the Black Orcs going against the Greatswords. No, I've got the boys. I want to keep the Black Orcs here to hold the gate. Because if the gate is held by the Orcs and Goblins, the relief force can't get through. They have to retake the gate, and they have got so few things left defending. So yes, Waaagh and an Orc, the Orc boys, are going to move onto the wall, because they were technically in the combat, and they are allowed. So because a unit was wiped out, everything within 6 inches still has to test, so the mortar is fine, but the guys in here are still affected by panic. Great swords testing on an 8. Pass. Oh, they are not affected at all. Hellstorm on a 7. Oh, they were a bit... they were thinking about running. And actually, the question is... Nope, 7 across. So I was checking to see if this wall was also affected, but no, they are not. Looking quite grim as we go into Wissenland Turn 3. Time to roll for the relief force. So, on a 2d6, it needs to roll 7, because you add the turn number, which is 3, and it needs to total 10. So, on a 7, the relief force arrives. Yes! The relief force has arrived. Good! Because, oh, this is looking really bad for Nuln. So, the entire relief force arrives, which is a steam tank and inner circle knights. I don't know how much they can help, because look at what is left. I mean, it always looks like fewer things because, you know, they're all back here, but it's still not much, you know? Like, scattered men against a few really big units still. So we determine which edge they arrive on. 1 to 2 is this edge to the left of the fortress, 3 to 4 is opposite, 5 or 6 is to the right of the fortress. They arrive 6 to the right of the fortress. So all of these guys are coming on here as reinforcements. So they are just placed touching this. So I guess here, And here, no, actually I want to swap those round so that the steam tank is on this side. So Roderick Leder has arrived at a very bad time. You know, like he's seeing a very bad thing here. He's seeing orcs climbing over the gatehouse, and he can hear a giant rampaging somewhere, and he sees shockingly few defenders still on the wall. It's also important to note that relief force things cannot enter or attack fortress sections from the outside. So what can they do here? Because they can't attack the gate. They have no way in, basically. And because I didn't have any, well, I don't know. I have nothing. How do you? Sorry, I'm panicking a bit. How on earth can the relief force ever win? Like, you need to have defenders to capture the gatehouse, otherwise you've lost. So there are the Great Swords, which is a decent unit still. But yeah, they are going to have to be incredibly aggressive to capture through these fight through these two massive units in order to reach the gatehouse. It's also worth noting that things that come on from reinforcements cannot charge in the turn they arrive, so the knights cannot actually charge. Speaking of which, any charging, yes, I was just saying that the Greatswords are going to have to attack Waaagh and the Orc Boys. It is literally the only chance they have of winning, basically. So the Greatswords and the Furman are going to attack. And for once, the Orcs are the defenders who get a bonus from having a connected section. The Fortress Defense bonus here doesn't specify that it has to be when attacked from the outside, so it seems that attacking this way does still count for the bonus. Valo is going to abandon his unit. Valo is not ready to die, so he is going to abandon the unit and just leave the fortress section. Magic. Oh, sorry, before the magic, I forgot that we got to do stuff with the steam tank. So the steam tank generates steam points. Choose a number between 0 and 5, and then roll an artillery dice. It currently has 10 wounds, so as long as I don't get a misfire, I think it's okay. So I'm going to go with 5 steam points, and then roll the artillery, so anything other than a misfire is fine. 8, so that is... oh. Yeah, no, that's fine. So that is fewer than the number of wounds, so the boiler holds out. And it is worth noting that these guys can still move, they just can't charge, because essentially they come on in the remaining turns phase, the remaining moves phase. So yeah, they're going to move forward a bit. And the steam tank, how does this thing work? It's a really complex machine. So that's the number of steam points he has that he can spend to move, shoot, and in combat. He can cannonball over there. So I think what I might be best doing is moving a little bit forward to get a better angle, and then steam cannoning my own walls. So I think I would go, because the steam points is 12 inches per, like the range is 12 inches per steam point. I only need 3 steam points to be able to shoot all the way there, so I'm going to use 2 steam points to move forward, which gives d6 move per point. So he now moves 8 inches forwards to there. And then he will steam... oh, does the steam cannon have to be directly forwards? Yes. In that case, I would have tilted a bit to there. So I'm going to aim at the gatehouse here, because it's those guys I need to kill off more. Like the Orc Boys, there are a lot of them, but they are nowhere near as threatening as the same number of Black Orcs. So we will then... yeah, that's all the movement. So back to the magic, I rolled 8. And I reckon I'm going to start off with 3 dice to cast Wissen's Wild Form. So that is actually 2 dice. 2 dice for Wissen's Wild Form. So he's a level 3 wizard. He needs 7 on 2 dice to cast, which he just gets. And the thing is, they know what's coming. He's tried to do it every turn. He is going to try and turn into a monster, because if he does, he may have a chance at smashing through. So they are not going to dispel Wissen's Wild Form. So that means all models in the target unit, which is his own unit, sorry, I thought it was within range, Yeah, all models in the target unit increase strength and toughness by 1. And that leaves 6 dice for the transformation of Caden. So do I go with the upcast? I mean, the upcast is better. Those are more powerful monsters, so yeah. Alright, I'm going to go with the upcast. So he needs a 20 minus his 3, so he needs a 17 on 6 dice. Come on. He gets it. Yes! Oh, this could be fun. Alright, so that's a total of 24. Try and dispel on 5 dice, and they get a plus 5 to the irresistible dispelling. It's gone! It's gone! Never going to get to use that spell. Can't say I didn't give it my bloody all, though. Shooting! We'll move across. The handgunners, they can... Oh, can they see? Oh, they can see the big uns, who are still a threat. So, yeah, they're going to shoot at the big uns. They are within short range. And there is still the full 10 shooters. So, Captain, Champion, and 9 others. Champion, miss. 9 others, 5. 2 wound, goes straight through the armor. So that is 2 big uns dead. Next, the steam tank, Old Red, is going to shoot at the gatehouse with the steam cannon. So this is going to use the last 3 steam points, which changes the range, increases the range by 12 inch per thing. So I only really needed to spend 2, but there's no reason not to spend more. So it's just short of 6 inches in front of it. The cannon overshoots by 10. That is probably still enough to hit. So to there is 14.5, 23. Yes, so it's going to hit this, and I decided last time, I think, I don't remember, I think the cannonball should be stopped by this, so it's not going to blast out the other side, it's just going to hit the things in there. So this hits D6 things inside the building. Oh, 6, nice. Fairly high chance to wound. Oh, incredibly high chance, is a strength 10 hit. So that's 6 wounds, no armor. Not enough to cause any kind of panic, but that is still a pretty nice bit of damage. The Hellstorm. Do I want to fire this? Because if it scatters onto the knights, I'm going to be incredibly upset. So I kind of don't think I do. Yeah, the risk is too high. To chip away at this, which is about to get obliterated anyway, it's not worth it. The mortar, however, what's the minimum is 12. So I can mortar the gatehouse. So this may seem stupid, but yeah. If we can mortar the gatehouse, then that would be really good. So, which is not a thing you hear said about your own defenses very often. Misfire. And the result is 6. May not shoot this turn either. Okay, 2 turns in a row I've had that, but fine. Over here, the handgunners are going to shoot at the night goblins outside the walls. So that's 5 and the champion, because there's 1 on the wall. So, champion, miss. 5 others, 4. 3 wound, no armor. However, that is not quite 25%. Combat, the only one is the Furman and the Great Swords, or frankly, just the Great Swords, versus Waaagh and the Orc Boys. So there are no champions on this side. So it is just... Oh yeah, sorry, the Furman's there, isn't he? So it is just the... it's just 10 Great Swords versus Waaagh and 9 Orcs, one of which is the champion. I'm going to go with the extra weapon, because that way he strikes before these guys. Even though the Great Swords have pretty good armor, I don't think it's worth like giving up the 4 attacks before they strike for 3 attacks that are going to do slightly better against their armor. So Waaagh has 4 attacks, 3 hit with the choppers, plus 1 strength. So 2 wounds. Yeah, it's still a 6+ armor, so... Wow, 1 saved it. Bloody hell. So that's only 1 dead. Still a decent sized unit. Then 10 attacks from the boys, including the champion, 7 hit. Only 2 wound. But they fail both armor. That does, however, still leave the full contingent of 10 greatswords to strike back. Barely, though. There are only 11 greatswords and the Furman... Oh no, 12 greatswords and the Furman. But yes, 10 of these. I think they're going to go for Waaagh, because if they can crush Waaagh, then that's going to take away a lot of the orc's staying power. So I think I'm going to do... how many wounds does Waaagh have? 2, I think? Don't think he's lost any? No. So I'm going to do the same thing where I have the 10 attacks and I can use up to half of them against Waaagh. So I will do 2 at a time until Waaagh is dead. First. Fail. Second. Ooh, double. Still only an even chance even with the +2 strength, so fail. Third. 1. No wound. Fourth. 1. Wound. And at that strength it goes straight through the armor. So Waaagh loses 1 wound. I think that was the 5th attack, so... Oh, was that the 5th attack? Yeah, I think that was the 5th attack, so that's all they could do against Waaagh. So the other 5 against boys. 3. 2 wound. Goes through armor, but they do get a parry, which they fail. So that is 2 boys killed by greatswords. A drop in the green bucket. Oh, sorry, they have +1 strength and bloody toughness. I completely forgot that. Oh god, how does that affect everything that's just happened? Wouldn't have affected Waagh's attacks, so he's got 3 4s to wound, which is what he would have needed. Would have been 1 fewer wound from the boys. So yeah, I'm just going to bring one of them back because they failed both of their saves. So I'm just going to bring 1 greatsword back if I can find them. Where are they? Greatsword. So there would actually have been an additional wound on Waaagh. Yeah, so there would have been an additional wound. But that's it. If I've calculated that correctly, which I think I have, yeah, that would have been Waagh's last wound. So Waaagh would have been killed by a greatsword, bringing this to a tie. So really not that much difference. I mean, one fewer wound inflicted, 1 by the orcs, 1 more inflicted by the greatsword. So yeah, it actually brings it to a tie. So no movement at all. And we go into Skullsmasherz Turn 4. Animosity, we have the big uns and the night goblins. So first of all, the big uns on a 1, they fail. Fine. Night goblins, fine. Now the big uns are in a bit of a bind. What do they do here? Also, considering the fact that these guys can't actually capture this at all, why would I keep the Black Orcs in there? Except, I mean, I'm going to need them in there for the objective. But do I... yeah, I need them in there for the objective. I don't want to fail to capture the objective because there was just no one in there at the time. So I think the big uns are going to have to charge. They're within 9 inches. They only need a 5. That will probably get them out of the range. No, it won't. So they'll still be probably chargeable by the knights. But if they can take this tower, if they get attacked from both sides, they could potentially take the tower, move out of it, and it's effectively game over. So yes, we'll do that. It's charging, so they need a 5 on 2 dice, which they get. They're going to do throwing rocks, so there are 10 rocks being thrown, because there are at least 10 people, and it doesn't matter who throws them. 3. 2 wounds. Neither saved. Wow, they actually kill 2 big uns through bloody rocks. But the rest of the big uns make it into combat. And the orc boys similarly attack. So the orc boys are planning to do the majority of the fighting so that they don't get the minuses. But, yeah, I don't know if they can win it, but we'll find out. And over here, the night goblins are going to charge again, so they get rocks as well, and there are 6 of them. 2 wound. Failed both the armor. Not quite 25% though. And once again, the night goblins on the wall are going to join in. So we have night goblins fleeing and Scrap Thumb fleeing. So Scrap Thumb testing on a 6. Pass. Night goblins on a 5. Fail. And they flee 11 inches. They have just seen the knights arrive and they do not want to be here. But they are still on the board. But Scrap Thumb rallies, so he's going to turn around like that. I'm fairly sure he couldn't. No, he couldn't charge. Alright, so Skimbleshanks is going to, because he can just rotate on the spot, he's going to move 1.5 inches up to there, pivot, and then 4.5 this way. He's going for the mortar. Over here, Zippy Zippy is going to move 4 inches. He doesn't want to be, neither of these want to be within range of those knights. So actually, Big Oly Ed is headed for the gate. They're both going to see if they can march. However, Zippy is easily within 8. But Big Oly Ed is not. So Big Oly Ed can march. And is going to march to, I don't know why that's not showing movement. He's going to move up to the gate and then turn around. 7 for Thingy to march. Yes, passes. So Zippy can march and he's just going to move up to the wall and then turn to face this way. Magic. 7. Channeling. Oh, sorry, I've been channeling 2 on Wissenland's side. I forgot that Thingy lost his wizard level. So he's... I mean, technically he is a wizard, but he's just got a level 0. I'm going to say that means he can't channel. Anyway, that was the orcs, so they failed. That's Wissenland. Oh, Scrapfum is now rallied, so sorry, I've fumbled this completely. No one gets any channeling, it doesn't matter. I think we're going to go with 4 dice on a Foot of Gork. Needs ooh, I kind of want to upcast it. Alright, 5 dice on an 18 minus his 4, so 5 dice for a 14. Just passes, total of 19. Let's get the unusual marker, so the Foot of Gork marker, which I don't use often. And he's going to stomp on this, so actually this shouldn't snap, I don't know why it does. So yes, he's going to be stomping on the knights. They really should try and dispel this, because... oh, yeah, alright. 4 dice to try and dispel. Total of 17 plus the 3. That is actually enough because they had a 19 total cast and they had a 20 total dispel. So that is dispelled. But that does leave 2 dice left. Can I try another Brainburster? It's only a 6. It's got to be in the front arc. Zippy? Fairly sure. Yeah, the tower is in the front arc, which means he can brain burst the Furman. So he needs a 6 minus his level. He needs a 4. He gets it. So the Furman takes a strength 5 hit. However, there are more in combat than fleeing, so his strength 6 hit. Oh, and it's a 1, no wound. Maybe I will. Maybe I will get to do the transformation of Caden. Shooting, we have the bolt throwers who finally have something decent to shoot at. Also, every time I shot at these, I just realised they should have been getting a bloody +2 for the hardcover. It's okay, not a single bolt has hit. So yes, they are shooting at the knights. So short range, long range. First one, miss. Second one, hit. You can see past. Yeah, you can definitely see past. Like from here, you can see straight past and hit the front rank of them. So it hits the front rank and it is a bolt. Hang on, I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1, slipshod. Slipshod means if you roll a 1 to hit, then you have to roll on the misfire chart. So this is for the far left one that got a 1 to hit. 2, disabled. The weapon suffers a wound, no armor saves allowed. Cannot fire this turn or next turn. So that's 1 crew gone. So that's it. It can't shoot again. Because turn 5 is the last turn, can't shoot this turn or next turn. So this bolt thrower is now irrelevant. But yes, this one got a hit. So it's strength 6 against the front one, strength 5, 4, and 3 until it fails to get a wound. It does also ignore armor saves. Front rank, wound, strength 5, wound, strength 4, wound, and strength 3. Wound, 4 wounds as it just pierces straight through and kills 4 knights. That is not bad. Bolt throwers, when they work, they really work. Not quite 25%, but if this last one hits, then maybe they can get their 25% and panic. So this one's long range. Yeah, slipshod. 3. Also cannot fire for the remainder of the game. Bloody grand. Combat, we've got this one with the Furman and we've got this one with the handgunners. I'll do the handgunners first. So again, it's actually going to be the 10 Night Goblins who are on the walls, so they don't get the penalties. They all strike at the same time, so it is 6 handgunners and 10 Night Goblins. Handgunners, 4. 2 wound, 1 armor, no parry, 1 dead. But although they did kill one of the ones from on top of the wall because they're striking at the same time, the Night Goblins get to attack all as well. 5. 3 wounds, no armor at all. So that is, yeah, that is a victory for the goblins. So the handgunners are going to test. They're steadfast because they're in a building, testing on a 7, which they pass. So these guys pull back 1 inch, and that's over. Now here, yeah, the majority of the work is going to be the Orc boys, so that they don't have the reduced weapon skill, because that is killer. So they, yeah, they're just going to have, how many great swords? Yeah, 10 great swords, no champion, versus 10 Orc boys, 9 Orc boys and the champion. Champion boy, none. Everybody else, 3. They do have choppers, so they have a higher chance to wound. 3 wounds. Get a decent armor save. 1 saved, 2 dead. Not enough to reduce them below... Oh, hang on, what have I done here? Not enough to reduce them below the critical mass of getting all 10 hits back. So we have 10 greatsword attacks against boys. 6. Sorry, they still have the higher toughness. Whoops. Sorry, that would have been 2 wounds instead of 3 because they had +1 toughness. So, I'm going to re-roll their armor. Yeah, I'm just going to re-roll the armor because 2 failed, so it could be no more than 1 can pass, I guess. So, yeah, 1 survived. No, yes, 1 survived. Yep, so there's 1 more greatsword left. Greatsword rolling to wound with the +1 strength and the +2 from the greatsword. 5 wounds. No armor, but they get parry, which they all fail. So that's 5 more boys. Still not really denting them that much, but it means they have lost the fight. They also get +1 from having a connected section as the defender. So, yeah. The boys and the big uns are both going to have to test for panic. Boys, they're both testing on 7. The boys fail. The other ones, the big uns, pass. So, does that mean they abandon it? Oh, no, sorry. The assaulting unit doesn't take a break test because they're not going to be chased, so they've got no reason to panic. So yeah, they do move back an inch, and these guys are still in here, but no panicking on this side at all. And we go into Wissenland Turn 4. Alright, what miracle are we going to have to pull off here? Well, first of all, I need to roll steam points. So I'm going to go with 5 steam points again, and I roll to see if the boiler holds out. Anything but a misfire is good. We're good. What are the Inner Knights going to do? Are they actually still within range? Yes, they are. So they are definitely going to be charging these guys because they are sort of the biggest threat. Like, if they can take them out, then they'll definitely not hold more than 2. Well, I suppose the giant. Anyway, yeah. I don't know how Wissenland can really get this back, except maybe as a draw by holding one of the objectives. I believe, I'm just going to double check, but I believe the attacker needs to hold all 3. Yes, so if the defender holds 1 objective, then it's a draw and it goes to victory points. So basically, if the Furman and his greatswords can stop this for another 2 rounds of combat, then they have brought them to a draw. So in light of that, like, the chance of them getting the relief force through, basically non-existent. So instead, we're just going to focus entirely on stopping this, so they're within the minimum. So they are just going to rotate and charge in the back. They are now right in the way of Old Red. So I don't really know what to do about Old Red. Do we attack the Orc boys or do we hold? If the defender wins if the attacker only has 1 objective or none. So attacking and shifting these guys off, even if there is no one holding this one, would be a victory for the defender. So yes, the great swords are going to attack. They don't have this anymore, but the great swords are going to attack again. So the orcs get 1 for a connected section. Elsewhere, Valo is going to move 4 inches. He is then going to try and march on a 7, which he gets. So he is going to continue sprinting for the board edge. And if he makes it off, he will count as half points to the Skullsmasherz because he voluntarily left. I think Old Red is going to stay there because I'd say it can still see the gatehouse and stuff over the top. So he's just going to stay there. Magic. Bloody double one. No transformation of Caden this turn then, is there? Channeling Skulls. 1. Channeling Wissenland. None. Oh, you just remain just that little bit out of reach. Technically, if I rolled a double 6, it would be irresistible and that would be bad. But it would still get cast. No, it wouldn't. He's a level 3. Well, I mean, it would still be cast with an irresistible. Doesn't matter, though. I'm not going to do that. I think I will do a Weissen's Wild Form again. That did really well. A lot better than I expected. Like, I've heard it's good, but I didn't really sort of twig how good. So, yes, he's going to cast that on the Greatswords. So that is a 10 minus his 3, so he's 7 on 2 dice. Fail. Well, that was brief. Shooting. Handgunners. What's even within bloody range? I mean, they can go for this. They did technically buy flaming ammunition, which means once per battle, instead of making a normal attack, they can attack a war machine and roll 1d6, and on a 5+, it destroys it. So, sure. That's out of range. So, yeah, there's just within range, and they're going to go for it. So, yeah, 1d6, and on a 5+, the war machine is destroyed. It's irrelevant now, but it's destroyed. Cool, that's a few more victory points. The Hellstorm, not really anything to shoot at. The Mortar, I mean, the Mortar can continue firing at the thing here. Just trying to do a little bit extra damage. And scatters 4 inches that way. Ooh, that might hit the Giant. It goes there. So it does hit the Giant. Hits the Giant and the thing, but at strength 2. So it does d6 hits on the gatehouse. 2 hits. No wounds. Then 1 hit on the Giant. No wound. Yeah, the Mortar sort of already played its part and it's just trying to survive now. Handgunners are going to keep shooting at the Night Goblins. Might make them panic this turn, but there are only 3 shooting. Champion, hit. Everybody else, sorry, that should have been on a 4+, so that's actually 2 misses. No wound. Good job. Combat. There is the big uns and the boys. So I will go with the... Oh, sorry, I didn't shoot the Old Red. Yeah, I'd say... Oh, I don't know. It's very close to this, isn't it? I'd say it's too close. Like, the cannon is literally at their shoulder height and is not a cannon that can tilt up and down. So, yeah, I'm going to say that that is actually too close to shoot over them. Maybe I should have decided that earlier, but it's fine. So, yeah, I'm going to do the boys first. So, Greatswords versus the boys, because if they wipe them out, I sort of want to know how I'm reforming. So, 10 Greatswords and the boys and their champion go first. Champion. I suppose it doesn't really matter, actually. I don't know why I'm doing them separately. 1 with the choppers. That's 1 higher strength, so that's a wound. No save, because they don't have Weissen's Wild Form anymore, so they're suddenly a bit more vulnerable. Not much more, but a little. 9 others. 6. 5 wounds. Oh, this could be bad for them. Oh, that said, 3 saves, only 2 dead. However, that does bring them down under the 10. So, the Furman... I mean, technically the Furman should be forced into combat now, but if he was in the combat from the beginning, they would have attacked him. So I'm going to say he can't fight. Instead... No, I think I'm going to have to be strict here. Yeah. Alright, it wouldn't have affected if the crewmen had joined in, but I think in the future I'm going to specify what happens if people get wiped out and if... Yeah, I don't know. It's really tricky with like a mixed unit like this. So yeah, I'm going to say it is just the Greatswords. So 9 Greatswords. 5. 3 wound. No armor. No parries. So 3 dead. And with the +1 they get from having a connected section, that means the Orc boys actually win. So the great swords have to test on an 8. They are stubborn because they're in a building and they're stubborn anyway. And they pass. I mean, they would have... That was almost a 6, but yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. I probably should have known that if you hover over dice, it shows the total. That makes things a lot easier. Anyway, yeah, so they hold. And now, what is sure to be a devastating combat. Frederick Lehrer and his Inner Circle Knights versus ordinary Biggen boys. First of all, impact hits. We have 5 impact hits because of my homebrew cavalry impact rule. So it is 5 hits at +2 strength as they have 2 ranks. So 5 strength, 5 hits. 2 wound. At that strength, it goes through their armor and they cannot parry it. So that is 2 dead. And Roderick Lehrer is wielding his paramour's rune fang, given to him by Countess Emmanuel herself. So it is an auto wound with no armor saves allowed. All he has to do is hit. 4 attacks, 3 hit, 3 dead. No parries, no armor. And then 10 Inner Circle Knight attacks because orcs are slow. 3, that's pretty poor. But they have lances, so very high chance to wound. 2 wound, no armor, and from the back, no parry. And then 5 horse attacks against boys. All of these are faster than the orcs. 4 hit, 2 wound, 1 save, 1 dead. Bring them down to a single rank of orcs left. So 5 big uns striking back. And I think 3 of them are going to go for Frederick. Roderick? Whatever, Lehrer, his name. Whoever he is, that guy. Because he is clearly the most dangerous and the leader. 1 hit. Actually a decent chance to wound because of the choppers. So that is a wound. Pretty good armor save, which he makes. 2 against the rest of the unit. Nope. So this is the first actual combat with combat resolution stuff to add. So Roderick and has a standard, so he gets +1, 2 for rank. Yeah, they win by 14. So yeah, that's the big uns testing on a double 1, which obviously they fail. I don't know what they do here. Like, it seems, rules as written, they should flee through the wall, which seems completely bizarre to me. So, I don't know why it's a rule in Fantasy 8th edition that units can flee through impassable terrain. It makes absolutely no sense. It's like, oh, they force their way through. Yeah, you can't force your way. When you're backed up against a bloody solid wall, you cannot force your way through it. Like, you will die before you manage that. So, but yeah, I guess they try and flee. So they flee 9. They are pursued by Swift Stride 10. So yeah, I'm just going to say they get wiped out here. I'm just going to take them out from there because I'm not having them fleeing through this wall. It's just, yeah, they get wiped out. That's all we need. Completely stupid that they can, rules as written, flee through a tower. But yes, so they reform. The knights now reform as best they can, given how close they are to the old red. So they're going to reform to, I guess, there. It's sort of the best they can do. Is a really awkward position for them. And now we go into the Skullsmasherz final turn, turn 5. So to remind you, the game only lasts 5 turns. It is a hard cap. And it is whoever controls objectives at the end of the game. So, for the orcs to still win, they have to take and hold this objective this turn. If they do not manage to attack it this turn, they may get attacked back, but the point is they will not win. They need all 3. So, can I get the giant over here? Because the giant would make a difference. He is 16 away, so movement of 6, he needs to roll a 10. I will try, because there is no point attacking the mortar. I need to do animosity, but okay, he's done anyway. He doesn't want to take part in the battle anymore. Sorry, animosity. There is just the night goblins, so they pass. That means it's gonna have to be the boys attacking the greatswords. Yeah, there are enough of them. It's a shame I didn't get to use the Black Orcs more. They did the hard bit and then just sort of stopped because they'd done it. So they did their job very well, but I kind of wish I could have used them better. In a way, if that makes sense. Anyway, yeah, the boys are going to attack the great swords because they're beginning to be depleted, and every time they attack, they have a higher chance of winning. And over here, I mean, we've got nothing better to do, so we may as well attack the handgunners from both sides again. So they get to throw rocks. Although, I've realised I've been doing it wrong. I've been doing the order wrong. Rather than charging with this and then charging with this, I'm going to charge with this one, where they can't throw rocks, and then charge with this one, where they can't throw rocks because they're now engaged in combat. So, I was silly for doing it the other way round this whole time, but it's fine. Elsewhere, Scrap Thumb is moving another 4 inches this way because he doesn't like being near the knights, and then he's going to march because he's got space. Zippy is going to go and just like cram himself into this corner, so it's not really worth attacking him, but yeah, after the battle he's going to have a bad time. And Big Olied is going to move a little further this way. Oh, sorry, the Night Goblins, I forgot they were still on the board. Testing on a 5 to see if they rally. They do. Wow, I was literally about to say of course they don't. They rally, so they are staying on the board. Okay, sure. They're just going to watch then. Magic, 5. Channeling Skulls, 1. Channeling Whiz, none. I am a little bit stunned that all 3 spellcasters are still alive on this side. It's rare. But what am I doing with it? I feel I have to kill Furman. Like, he is the biggest threat here. Because if he can turn monster, then they have a very solid chance of taking this wall. Once more, we have more in combat than fleeing, so +1 strength to Power of Waaagh. Also, I forgot to do sneaky stealing. Oh well. Let's do a Gaze of Mork from Big Olied at the gate against this tower. Because he can just glance alongside. It's a straight line, it does. So he can glance alongside Zippy without hitting him, like so. So that is something he can do. He can just gaze past Zippy. So I'm going to upcast it because he needs the range. So a 10 on, he's a level 4, so he needs a total of 6 on 2 dice. Fails it. In that case, let's do Zippy casting Gaze of Mork. Minimum cast, so 7 minus his thing. He needs a 5 on 2 dice. Cast it, good. I think they're going to try and stop that one because there's not much else they can do. So, +3. So Zippy got a total of 12, whereas the Wissenland, the Furman got a total of 11. So that is cast. So 4d6, although it is literally touching it. So anything, I suppose actually it could blast through stuff, couldn't it? Because even in a straight line here, that's still hitting the tower. So yeah, actually I will roll for it. So it is 4d6. 11. Bloody, and a frickin' hell. 3 6s and a 5. So 23 inches. Yeah, it's just going to go straight up there. It's going to hit 4 knights and the tower. So it's going to do d6 hits on the tower and 4 on knights. And because of the +1 strength from Power of Waaagh, that is, each one of those takes a strength 5 hit. So I'll do the knights first. 3 wounds. Pretty decent armor as well. All 3 pass. And then it does d6 hits on the tower. 5. 4 wounds. I'm curious how this is phrased. I don't know. Because technically there are 2 units in here. So how did I can't remember how I did it up here. I kind of feel, oh no, they broke from it, yeah. I kind of feel like they should get hit by d6 each. No, because it would just make it too vulnerable. No, I'm going to say that they're basically the last reserve. The war machine, so it does hit the great swords. They get a fairly meager armor. Oh, 4 fails. That is not good for the great swords. God, that leaves them with just 5 great swords and the Furman left. That is not good for them. which actually means they have to take a panic because that's half their number. Testing on an 8. They hold. Can I do an headbutt on 2 dice? Can it even reach? Needs a 19. 19 on 4d6 is not a great chance. Average of 14. Oh, even with the +4, I suppose an 8 on 2 dice is theoretically possible. Is there a better option? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a better option. Brainburster from Zippy. Yeah, let's do that then. Okay. So Brainburster on Zippy, minimum cast, so he needs a 4 because of his level of 2, which he gets. Oh god, I almost wasted my dice on a spell that wasn't going to work. This against the Furman, he takes a strength 6 hit because of the thingy. He only has 1 wound left, and this doesn't allow any saves. Well, he doesn't have any saves. So the Furman is dead. Ah, I was really, really hoping to do the transformation of Caden. Like, I seriously almost considered not shooting him because I wanted to do that spell, but it's like, no, I've got to do what the orcs and goblins would do in this situation. So the Furman, I'm afraid... Just to check, you only had 1 wound left? Yeah, you did. Alright. That is the Furman dead, unfortunately. Ah. Okay. Sorry, I am suddenly uncertain whether any of that thing I just did was legal. Because you can't shoot direct damage or magic missiles into combat, and technically these are in combat. So, is it legal? I mean, I've not been shooting into combat all this time, even when it's like a tower, like a wall attack, because it's like, maybe none of that was legal then. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, building assaults are really weird in that they have such specific rules, and like when it's... Alright, here's my take on it. That this is sort of an exception to the rule, because when a unit is like assaulting a wall or a tower, the idea is that they've got like ladders up it, and, you know, essentially there are people covering it all over. So trying to shoot into that is the same as trying to shoot into a combat. It's too messy for you to reliably hit the ones you want to hit. However, here, the point of contact between these two units is effectively like a door here, and they're like rushing back and forth, fighting. Maybe that still proves the point. I don't know. My instinct is telling me not to undo all that stuff I just did, both because it would be really difficult to work out, and because I honestly don't know what the rules are. Like, I think rules as written it's not allowed, but I don't know, it just seems really... This seems like an odd situation. So I'm going to let it stand. Let me know in the comments whether you think that's the right call or whether you think they shouldn't be able to cast magic at a building like this. And just to mention another thing, the reason why I think it's different is because technically there are no rules for assaulting... Like, let me just double check the phrasing of the rules for assaulting a building section like this. Yeah, technically, the way it is phrased in the Blood in the Badlands book is units can assault connected sections in the combat phase. So I sort of ruled it as it's a charge you do in the movement phase, but the rules, it's actually something done in the combat phase. So... The reason I ruled it as a movement phase thing is because if you capture a thing like Skimbleshanks moving into here, rules as written, he can then immediately assault the next section, which is sort of not how I think it should be. But at the same time, rules as written, from what I can tell in this poorly written book, as I keep mentioning, is at the time of the magic phase, these guys are not in combat. So, I don't know. I'm leaving it as it is. Again, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll know for the future. Shooting, we have the bolt thrower is going to continue going for the knights. So it is at short range. Hit. So it hits the side and it can go down all 5 files. So strength 5, 4... sorry, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. No armor saves allowed, so strength 6. Wound. 5. Wound. 4. No wounds, so that's 2 knights killed. This one bolt thrower is bloody carrying the goblins. Combat. Let's do the handgunners first. Not that they really matter, and to be honest, I'm sort of beginning to think maybe I should have moved the Night Goblins down here. Like, moved them into here to hold this, and freed up the Black Orcs to, I don't know, circle round and hit this. I really thought that we could take this with the units we had. Anyway, handgunners, again, it is the, well, it's going to be 9 from here and 1 from here, striking at the same time as 3 handgunners. So I'll do the handgunners first. None. Sorry, I've been making a mistake this whole time. I thought Night Goblins had 3 weapon skill. Turns out they have 2. So actually, one of those was a hit. They only needed a 3+, not a 4+. Sorry, I've been making that mistake. I mean, it's probably had very little impact considering this fight has no bearing on anything. No wound. The one goblin attacking over the walls has half his weapon skill. Miss. The other 9. 2 hit. No wounds. Well, that was a totally eventful, definitely worth wasting all my time on this one bloody fight. Yeah. I really feel like I should have just left one unit to harass this and the other one go down. I don't know why I bothered keeping them here to fight one increasingly smaller unit of handgunners. I suppose... Oh no, Valo was there, so I suppose that makes more sense. I suppose when he was rendered magically impotent, I probably should have then abandoned him and moved the majority of my troops down here to deal with this. And then we have the Orc Boys versus the Greatswords. So there really aren't many Greatswords left. There is... Oh yeah, the Furman died. So it is just 5 Greatswords and 3 Rocket crewmen versus 10 Orc Boys, including a champion. And bizarrely, it's actually the Rocket crewmen who go first. They are the fastest people in the fight. 2 hit. 1 wound. Not saved. Not parried. They get a kill. Doesn't matter unless they, you know, the Orcs need to wipe them out in order to, I mean, to be honest, they need to wipe them out because even if these guys... they're still going to be testing, and they're still going to be stubborn and rolling on a 7. So, they do sort of need to wipe them all out, ideally, for the Orcs. So bearing that in mind, I am going to be splitting attacks. So first of all, we have, there are the 5 Greatswords left, so we're going to strike at those first. So 5 attacks against them, 4 hit, due to choppers, +1 strength, 2 wound, 1 armor, 1 dead. Normally I'd go for the crew here because they're a much easier target and, a win by combat resolution. That doesn't really matter in this case because it's literally, they're always stubborn, both because they're greatswords and they're in a building. So another 4 against the greatswords. 1. Sorry, that should have been a 3+ because of the choppers. So that's another wound. Not saved. And the last boy against the misses. It was also against the greatswords. So that leaves 3 greatswords to fight back, and they need to do at least 2... Oh no, they need to do at least 1 wound to win the combat, which they are very likely to... Then again, only one hit. And... Yep, that's a wound. Goes straight through the armor, but they do get a parry. Fails. So, that is it for the Orc ambitions. They are not going to win this fight. So the Orcs lose. They're steadfast, so it doesn't matter about difference. But the Orcs are now testing on a 7, and they hold. Although, they would, because I think they... Or would they? I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember if they'd have to abandon it. I don't think they would, actually. I think they just stop. So no. It's only when the defender loses that they can leave, so actually I didn't need to roll for that at all. Doesn't matter, because now we go into the final turn of the game, Wissenland Turn 5. So what on earth can the knights even do here? Is there anything... I don't think there is anything to do. Literally the only thing worth doing is the greatswords. I suppose, if the greatswords don't take out the Orc Boys, which frankly, given the number of them left, they are bloody unlikely to do, it's going to come down to victory points. So in that case, I want to take out as many people as I can. Can they? They cannot actually charge him, I would say, because there is a building in the way. So although he is clearly in the front arc, they cannot charge and wheel in such a way that they can make contact with Zippy Zippy. Without that, I mean, arguably they could charge Big Oly Ed. He's 18 away, so they'd need an 11. Admittedly on 3 dice. Well, you know, the best of 3 dice. If they can even rotate... No, they can't, because the building is in the way. So even if they can rotate past Big Old Red, but they can't rotate past this. So the knights are done. I think, given that we're at the end of the thing, and that the only threat to Valo are the night goblins in the building, he is not going to leave the board, because at that point it would just be punishing the Wissenland side. Do I even want to do Steam points? I kind of think I should probably just skip to the Greatswords attacking the Orc boys. Like, there is nothing else really to do. I could mortar. Alright, we're just going to skip straight to the shooting phase. So we're going to mortar this building. That, like, the center of that is more than 12 away. So that is a legal shot. The mortar scatters 2 inches that way. I guess I'm just grateful it fired. So yeah, no one on this wall. Ooh, does it hit Big Oly Ed? It does. Okay. So it does D6 hits against the Black Orcs and hits Big Oly Ed. Against Ed, no wound. It does 6 hits against the Black Orcs. I didn't mean to move that dice, but whatever. 1 wound. Failed the armor. So he does kill a solitary Black Orc. I'd say that is still, yeah, these are still in the way for Old Red. I have thoughts about how I mishandled this. I will come back to it. It ties into how I feel siege battles work, but like, I'll come back to it. I will do the handgunner champion and 2 handgunners shooting these night goblins, see if we can get them to break. Actually, scratch that. I don't think it's worth it, because even if they break, they're not going to flee off the board, and they're already under half strength, so it's just a waste of time, really. It wouldn't have any effect on the game. So, all that is left is, yeah, the Greatswords versus the boys, because they are going to... The Greatswords... no, I'm going to say the crewmen can't join in an assault, but they can join in the defense. So, yeah, 3 Greatswords versus the boys, champion, and 9 boys. So this is probably the Greatswords losing, but if they happen to make the Orc boys break, then it turns into a victory for the defenders. That's why they're doing it. So the boys get 10 attacks. Sorry, 11 attacks. Oh, they should have got an extra attack in the previous thing. Oh well. I'll just roll 1 more now. It's too late to go back and change stuff, I'd say. Okay, I'm just curious. This is the roll for last turn. I mean, that would have been a hit. Would that have been a wound? That would have been a wound. Would that have been a save? It would have been a death. No, they still won. Okay, I'm going to get rid of 1. They lost by 2, I believe, the Orc boys last round, so it wouldn't have changed the outcome of that fight, but it means there are only 2 Greatswords left at this point. Not that I think that is going to matter for long, because they got 8 hits, and there are literally 2 Greatswords left, so 6 wounds. It counts as choppers. Again, it is a new combat. Wow. Sorry, no, that was the armor save. I was really confused for a moment then. Yeah, that's all the Greatswords dead. Like, it was such a minute chance, but if they had managed to oust the Orcs from the wall, that would have meant a victory for Wissenland. As it is, that is it. Sorry, that feels like an anticlimax. But I guess that's what happens when it comes to the last turn. It's like, why bother playing out a load of stuff that doesn't have any mechanical difference and is just a waste of time. So, yeah. As it ends, the attacker needed all 3 objectives to win. The attacker has 2 objectives, this wall and the gatehouse. That means it's effectively a draw, and it goes to victory points. Of the 219 of the Skullsmasherz tribe, 78 are still standing. And of the 158 defenders of Nuln, 36 are still here. Sorry, I meant 37, I forgot Valo. He's still here. For dead or fled, counting half-destroyed units as worth half points, Wissenland scored 1,995.5 points. They also killed the general for 100 and the battle standard bearer for another 100, giving them a total of 2,195.5 points. The Skullsmasherz, on the other hand, with dead or fled, scored 1,494 points. They also took out the battle standard bearer for 100, giving them 1,594 points. Stunningly, this is a Wissenland victory. And because it is a difference of 601.5 points, that is actually 1.5 points above what they needed for a solid victory. I am really quite shocked by this outcome, how the Skullsmasherz just demolished all the defences, but because they failed to claim that third objective, it went to victory points, and because of the knights and the steam tank, the relief force comprised a quarter of the total army's points. So the fact that it came on so late and had no real value to the objectives, they didn't really do anything about it. So because of this, it feels like a loophole that Wissenland has won by such a margin. I think after having played two of these siege battles, like one with Hasty and one focusing on the relief force, I really feel the relief force is a trap. Like, it's a trap for the defenders because it comes on so late, and by the time it gets there, unless you have the gate under your control, it's just worthless. It can do nothing. And for the attacker, the relief force is a trap because it's like, are they just going to stack it with points and then hold a single objective, and then it's just over? So with the way the rules are written, you could put like 75% of the army's points in the relief force, 25% holding a single objective so that it is absolutely rock hard, and the defenders will win. And this is with a relief force that is impotent, unable to get through the gate, unable to help with the fight at all, and yet by holding a single objective and having a load of points that don't get killed, the defenders win. And maybe that's like the min-max like exploit way of seeing it, but that's sort of what happened here. I sort of think it is better for the defender, like assuming that strategy is off the table, which frankly, I don't want to use that strategy. But it seems a better strategy to do what the vampire counts did in the Siege of Drakenhof and have a hard-hitting unit in the courtyard, for example the knights, in this case in the courtyard, who then can charge the walls that get taken because horses can mount the walls, but they can only attack them from the inside. So knights outside the walls, worthless in a siege. Knights inside the walls are the ultimate sort of Uno reverse card. As for the tank, if that had been stationed just inside the gate, because if like an ally is controlling the gate essentially doesn't exist for line of sight, so the tank could draw a line of sight of its cannon through the open gate and shoot things in quite a wide arc by just rotating on the spot. Or same with like a normal cannon, I guess. And then that could again have helped when stuff started breaching. But the relief force, I just don't see how it's a viable thing to use. I guess the way to really double down with the min-max is make the 1 point you defend to death be the gate. You know, make that an objective, hold that point, and then you have theoretically got the gate for when your massive relief force arrives, and then you just walk it through the gate and you win. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to reconsider how siege battles work for the future, because I feel this is a broken system that I've managed to exploit without trying. Anyway, let me know what you think of siege battles and how they work and how I could change the way I do things, etc. With the loss of Cromgit, I feel this is going to severely impact the Skullsmasherz, and they are probably no longer a threat in this campaign, but that is okay because this is almost certainly the final round. I guess the question is, how well will Wissenland recover from this? So thank you very much for watching. Next time is the final battle of round 7, which is a combined force of Empire and Solland versus the Vampire Counts, and it is a huge battle, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures like this, and TTRPGs, and I will catch you later.